Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, and keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
Good afternoon, friends, and welcome inside North Bay Memorial Garden for Battalion Hockey on the Frontline broadcast. Today's matchup features the Niagara Ice Dogs come clawing their way into North Bay to take on the North Bay Battalion. I'm your host, Derek Lindemann, and you are watching the Frontline pregame show brought to you by...
The pregame show is brought to you by La Huerta Imports, family owned and operated since 1995. Visit lahuertaimports.com for more details.
Well, I want to welcome in Ben Sargent. Tale of 2 teams today as the Niagara Ice Dogs have made 25 trades over the season as they are trying to rebuild in search of maybe possibly hosting the Memorial Cup, compared to the North Bay Battalion, who are building this year to try and make that run at a Memorial Cup. 25 trades for the Ice Dogs, coming in losers of their last 2. But the future is bright for this team.
Yeah, for sure. And as you said, it's a tale of 2 different teams. You've got the Battalion, who are 3rd in the entire league right now, and you have the Ice Dogs, who are dead last. And yeah, they have struggled. They did get to overtime yesterday against Barrie, but they are coming off a back-to-back. So this is going to be a game that it's going to be very important for quick starts for the Battalion. And really, the Battalion are a team that you kind of can get 2 different teams from these guys. You can either get a team that is very good at passing and will absolutely dominate you on the defensive and offensive side, or as we saw against Oshawa the other night, they're just a team that can, not pass as well. They make some mistakes, and it was quite a tight game because of that.
Exactly. We're not really sure what to expect when these teams meet up, as they've met twice previously this year, both teams winning on home ice. Last time Niagara was in town, North Bay won that game 9-3, but the most recent game between these 2 teams was a 6-5 Niagara win back on November 26th. It's still a totally different team than what North Bay even saw in November for the Ice Dogs.
Yeah, they're definitely in sell now mode. We were talking about this in the before the game here, and it really is just a situation where Niagara is saying, okay, look, this is not going to be their year, obviously. Let's regroup. Let's go for next year. They made a couple of trades, including that Zito trade that is very vindictive of how they're approaching this kind of season. And it's been tough. The last few years, they've been at the bottom of the barrel, and they're looking to kind of build that back up and get back to where they have been before, which is a top team in the Eastern Conference.
We know Niagara has put in a bid for the Memorial Cup. they're really interested in those 2004 birth years, and that exactly is what Michael Potaloo is that they got from the Battalion.
Yeah, and Potaloo is an interesting guy. He's going to get a lot of ice time here. He's going to be on that top line. And he's not a huge point guy. He has 1 assist so far in 5 games with Niagara. He only had a handful of points with the Battalion when he was here. But he's going to get that chance with Niagara to get a lot of ice time, and he's going to get that chance to hopefully kind of break through and get some points. He's playing with Michaud, who's their leading point getter, and hopefully that can kind of get him going, especially on the assist side.
Well, we've talked about our 2 players to watch already. Let's see more about them as tonight's Players to Watch, brought to you by Mike, the Financial Advisor.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike the Financial Advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
Our Players to Watch, first of all, for the Niagara Ice Dogs, you've already talked a lot about him, Michael Potaloo.
Yeah, Potaloo again, we talked about how he has 6 points in 21 games with the North Bay Battalion. It's going to come down to how he gets with this top line of Matic and Mosho. I think what we're really going to see from this guy is you're going to ask yourself, is this a guy who can be a top 6 forward, or is this a guy who's going to end up being a bottom 6 and somebody who's kind of scratched quite a bit? And that's going to be what Niagara's going to try to figure out. They're in a position where they have the time to be able to do that. And it kind of was beneficial for both sides with this kind of trade. And I think he's going to try to thrive here with Niagara.
And our player to watch for the Battalion is the player that came back in return for Potaloo in Pasquale Zito.
Yeah, and we've seen them. We saw McDonald come back last game. He's on that line with Zito and Petrov again. And hopefully we're going to see a little bit better, some more kind of chemistry from that line. Obviously, when you have a new lineman, it takes some time. And with Zito, he's been fantastic since he came back from injury. And I think that's something that we've seen his speed, and we've seen him how he's kind of connected with Petrov, and we're going to continue to see that chemistry of that line hopefully get better and better as each game goes by.
It's almost like 2 different identities in these trades. Potaloo only knows the North Bay Battalion as he was drafted, played his rookie season here for the Battalion. He's getting a chance to play in a different culture with the Ice Dogs. Meanwhile, Zito, drafted by the Windsor Spitfires, spent the run last year going to the J.S. Robertson Cup with the Windsor Spitfires, got traded to the Ice Dogs in the offseason, and only got into a handful of games with them before being sent here to the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, and it was kind of an interesting trade, too, because the same day that they made that trade with Zito, they also got Lavoie back on the other side. And these are pretty much the exact same players in terms of points. They had breakout years in the mid-40s in points last year. They're in the low 20s, both of them in the points this season. And the biggest difference is Zito's just a year older, so obviously they are really Niagara is really, really on about the age. Obviously, in this kind of league, age is super important. And I think this is a trade that's going to benefit both teams. And Zito has been an absolute great pickup for the Battalion.
When you look deeper into the Ice Dogs Federation and Corporation, new ownership, and GM Darren DeBobler really wants to put his fingerprints on the makeup of this team. He's gotten rid of everyone that was associated with this team going into it, and everyone now has his fingerprints all over it.
Yeah, and we saw the same kind of thing here in North Bay with Adam Dennis when he took over, right? They had one of their worst seasons. They were bottom of the barrel that year, and he came in mid-season, and you can see the way that they've changed over the last 2 years. And when you get a chance to kind of cleanse the house in a way and build the team that you want to build, that's kind of where you get a lot of success. It's when you kind of have this half your team, half not your team, that can get, you have guys who are really good, guys who aren't so good, and you can kind of just struggle. So doing that, it's going to be tough for a few years, but I think Niagara is really, as you said, really pushing for the Memorial Cup next year. This is a team that's not going to be bad for very much longer, and expect them next year to turn it around.
No, and when we turn our attention to the North Bay Battalion, trade deadline is only 2 days away. Not really any movement being heard around here about the North Bay Battalion. They're pretty set in their lineup. They've got the goaltender, Dom DiVincentis. They've got really 6D. Tanias Mathern still out with that shoulder injury. That would be his 7th if he returns. And then you've got 10, 11 top forwards that really want some ice time with this North Bay Battalion squad.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before the game as well. It's just, if you look at this lineup and you say, how can you get this team better? It's hard. They have the depth offensively. They have the depth defensively. And I think what Adam Dennis did earlier in the season, picking up guys like Bratowski, who's very unsung at the very bottom of that pairing. He's going to be with Winslow today in that third pairing. You look at Zito, you look at Bloom, you look at these guys that they picked up, and he kind of already done the work. Plus, you get McDonald and Winslow back right at the deadline. So it's tough. This is kind of a year. We talked about how many overagers they're going to have next year. They're going to have to choose. And going into this season, it's really a big a big season for the Battalion, I think, in the postseason. And right now, honestly, when you look at this team, I don't know where you could really get that much better, and they don't have a lot of draft prospects to really deal with anyways.
No, let's turn our attention to the Battalion lineup for tonight's game. We're going to see the same two top lines, Bloom, Jackson, Ertl, Petrov, Zito, and McDonald. We're going to see Liam Arnsby being scratched for tonight's game, hearing that he's dealing with an illness. So Tarasevic will move up onto the wing of that third line. Wakely will slide to center, and Van Steensel will be the other forward. Precision will be joined by Jacob Therrien, who draws back into the lineup for that basically last four of the fourth line, as we're only going with 11 forwards tonight.
Yeah, and Tarasevic had a really good game last game. He was all over the place against Oshawa, and Van Steensel was another guy who was all over it. I'm really excited to see Wakely slot back into that center spot. He definitely seems more comfortable in center than he does wing, and unfortunately with the Battalion having 4 really good centermen already, you need to kind of move some guys around. So it's going to be exciting to see how Wakely deals with that center spot, and to see Tarasevic get kind of back up into that third line. I think that third line is going to have a night this afternoon. And again, you look at Procession, had a 4-game point streak snapped against Oshawa the other night, and he's looking to get back on that as well, and Therrien back in the lineup. So yeah, a lot of good things you can look at that lineup, and I'm really excited about that third line.
When you look at even beyond that second line, Kyle McDonald almost seemed to be a step behind the rest of his teammates after coming back for injury. It's going to be interesting to see how fast he can get right back into game shape.
Yeah, and McDonald, one of the things I said about is he was trying a little bit too hard. He was trying too hard to make the play in transition. He was trying to go in, and he was getting double-teamed by the defense because he was all in alone against the 2 defensemen. Or he was trying to take shots in some places where you could have had an opportunity to make a pass. Or I think the big thing with him is he's going to have to learn how to trust Petrov and to trust Zito to set him up for good goals. Obviously, he can be very good in that transition game, but I think if he has another game where he's just trying to push a little bit too hard, he might need to take a step back and say, okay, let's trust in my line mates. I don't have to do everything myself. We have so many good forwards here that can produce points. I just need to kind of allow my other line mates to set me up, and I think that's where McDonald is absolutely going to thrive, especially if Petrov can find him, because of how good of a playmaker Petrov is.
Yeah, I really like McDonald joining those other 2 skilled forwards. McDonald's a player not afraid to throw his body around, and that will create space for the skilled players such as Zito and Petrov. And if he can get to the net, that heavy shot of his, he's going to put goals in. As we've seen, he's gone on hot streaks, scoring goals in multiple games.
Exactly, and if you want to look at an NHL perspective, you look at a guy like Alexander Ovechkin, who's a pure goal scorer, right? If you look at him versus Crosby, you've got playmaker versus goal scorer. And Ovechkin, what he does is he allows other people to set him up and put him in great scoring positions. And I think McDonald's that same place. He's not going to get a lot of assists, but he has one heck of a shot, and he needs to trust his line mates and his fellow teammates that they're going to put him in situations to thrive. And that second line can be absolutely monstrous if they can click this season.
One thing we haven't talked about is goaltending. The Niagara Ice Dogs, they're going to start Josh Rosenweg in goal. He was the goaltender in Barrie last night, getting that point in overtime. He's the goaltender getting the start tonight. He comes in with a .392 record, a .503 goals against average, and an .870 save percentage. But this is a kid that we could see steal a game. We've seen him making 50, 55 saves. He had wins for the Ice Dogs, but he's also a kid that could put that in 6 or 7 goals.
Yeah, and he had almost 40 shots the other game. The problem with Rosenzweig is he just doesn't have a solid defensive core in front of him. And what happens is you can only do so much. When you're dealing with shots that are getting through these holes that shouldn't be getting through, or you're dealing with not the shots that you should save as a goaltender, they're going to inflate those numbers, and Rosenzweig definitely deserves a little bit better than what he's been getting so far. But as you said, he can definitely keep this team in the game. We saw that against Barrie, where he kept the team in and got them an extra point. And it's going to be important for him today to stand on, and we saw what Carter Bickle did with Oshawa the other night. He's going to have to bring in that kind of performance if the Niagara Ice Dogs want to contend today.
Yeah, no matter what happens, Rosenzweig is never out of a play. Even though you might see the open yawning cage, he's going to be able to try and stick an arm, a leg, whatever he can to make that stop. He's all about keeping that puck out of the net, and it's really exciting watching him play. Last year, I know in one game, 2 of his saves made highlights of the night for first saves of the night, so he's an interesting player to watch for the Ice Dogs. And turning to the North Bay Battalion, getting the start again tonight, Dom DeVincentis, he comes in with a 19-6 6 record, a .258 goals against average, a .906 save percentage. What can you say about that goaltender for the North Bay Battalion?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. He's slipping a little bit though. He used to be number 1 in all these spots. He's now sitting third in goals against average, but only by 0.02%, which is crazy. He's trailing Brett Brochu of London and Michael Simpson of Peterborough. And it's going to be exciting. And if the Battalion get to the OHL finals and they face London, that is going to be one absolute crazy goaltending clinic that we're going to see. Brochu, of course, was the OHL goalie of the year last year. He's in pretty much every top spot. If those two teams face each other, that's going to be super exciting with the way Divinchentis has had this year. I
know we're going to talk more about Peterborough and London coming up in the first intermission as we divulge into the trade deadline, as Peterborough and London are quite high up in making moves to take a run at a OHL championship. We'll get more into that, but the Battalion, that goaltending, Dom Divinchentis, he's keeping you in and game out. It's more about those timely saves, when he's making those saves, than when he's letting in goals.
And if you look at the game against Oshawa, realistically, the 2 goals he let in were, one was kind of his fault for rushing out, and it was kind of an unfortunate bounce, but the other goal happened with less than a second on the clock. He's a guy that's going to shut the door every single game. And when we talk about playoffs, if you ask anybody, playoffs are won by the goaltender, and Divinchentis is a guy, when you get to that playoff run, he can shut the door and he can win you playoff series, and that's what the Battalion need. And when you have a great goaltender like that, it's all money from there.
So we've seen how they've come out against the Oshawa Generals the last 2 times. First game giving up a quick goal in the first minute, and then having a good rebound game against the Oshawa Generals. How can we expect the Battalion to come out tonight against that last place Niagara Ice Dogs?
I think they're going to be a little bit better because they had about 5 games before. So 5 days before games, so I think they're going to be a little bit sharper. The big thing is, can they play 60 minutes? They were up 3-0 after 1, and then kind of fell away for the next 40 minutes. So can they play a solid 60 minutes against Niagara?
Well, we're already up here in the press booth. When we return, Courtney Kenny will join Ben Sargent for all of your action here as the Ice Dogs take on the Battalion on the Frontline broadcast.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
And we welcome you inside North Bay Memorial Gardens for a Central Division clash as the North Bay Battalion take on the rival and my most favorite OHL team, the Niagara Ice Dogs, here at North Bay Memorial Gardens on this fine Sunday afternoon in the Gateway City. I'm Courtney Kenny. You've already been introduced to Ben Sargent with Derek Lindeman in the pregame show. We will hear from Derek during the game, of course, between the benches, but it should be a good one with some guys who swapped towns facing each other for the first time, and Pasquale Zito and Michael Podolou.
Yeah, and I was very surprised when we came to the rink here and we saw Podolou on that top line. So I'm very excited to see how he's going to play. Obviously with Macho, who's on has 4 goals in 4 straight games. Absolutely on a tear right now, and 5 points in that time with an assist as well. So expect him to be on the score sheet this afternoon potentially.
Should be a good one here for the Battalion as we get underway. The Battalion in their home greens are going right to left, and the Ice Dogs in their road whites are going left to right as the Ice Dogs quickly into the Battalion zone. Over to Podolou in front, he shoots, and he runs into DiVincentis. But Podolou with the first great chance here as he just completely ran into DiVincentis on the shot. And of course, it's not necessarily as a former teammate's malicious intent. He just ran out of real estate and took the entire net and DiVincentis with him.
It didn't look like Christopoulos was going to let him get out of the net there. But this is where Podolou can actually be very impressive for the Niagara Ice Dogs. You see where Michaud makes that feed, where he kind of sets him up for that success, and he gets an absolute great chance on DiVincentis. DiVincentis does a great job getting his body in front, squaring up to that puck, which obviously is what you expect out of a goaltender of his caliber. But not a great start for the Battalion, letting that kind of transition start right away. And we talked about big starts. This is a game where the Battalion needs to not have a very stress-inducing game like we saw against Oshawa. They need to have a game where they're winning 7-6-2, and they can just kind of breathe easy, especially in that third period.
Well, about a month or so ago, I had the fortune of seeing the Sudbury Wolves dismantle the Ice Dogs 13-2. It wasn't even close. You almost started to feel bad for the Ice Dogs by the end of it. And thankfully, Sudbury didn't have their goal horn going the entire time, because my goodness, that is the loudest goal horn in the history of goal horns. As the Ice Dogs back into the Battalion zone, Lucan sends the puck up to Petrov, who goes cross ice trying to get to McDonald. And it was just out of McDonald's stick. So it's back into the Battalion zone with DiVincentis playing the puck behind his net. We'll have to watch if that hit against him has any adverse effects as the game goes on as well. He pressuring Jackson, or Lucan rather. And Lucan gives the puck away. Now a chance there by he was looking to get to LeBlanc and couldn't get it across ice. Keane couldn't hold the line as Bloom was pressuring him as well. And now going the other way, the Battalion tried to get a chance there, but Ride got to the puck first. Hislop now in his own zone, goes up ice for Ertl. Ertl gets a stick on it and sends it down into the Ice Dogs zone. Bloom behind the net, twisting and turning, has the puck, but he loses it. Now going the other way is Dan. His pass up for he couldn't get into it. And then Nelson with a good stick stops that one. Looks like there's a penalty now coming for a tripping call. It'll be going against the Troops as Hislop heads to the box.
Yeah, not what you want to start here. We'll see how Niagara has. One of the things that we want to look at too is Zachary Lavoie. He's going to be playing on that second line. They just picked him up on the 12th of December from Mississauga, so about a month ago. 13 goals this season so far, leads the team, but 11 of those with Mississauga. Only has 2 goals in 5 games so far.
As we know, and now the Battalion with a chance shorthanded here. Tarasevich goes in, looks for the pass out front. He had Wakely with him. And as we know about Zach Lavoie, if you listen to the podcast, well, you'll hear Matt's call in the intro of Zach Lavoie missing the shootout attempt at North Bay being crowned Central Division champions last year against the Steelheads. Lavoie out there now. Sends it in for Michaud. Back out for Dan. Wakely giving him a whole bunch of trouble there. And finally the Battalion get the puck out. Quickly the Ice Dogs. Their power play ranks 20th in the league at 17.8%. The Battalion have a golden penalty kill at 86.9%. That's great for first in the league. They've only ever led the league first in the penalty kill department for an entire season once in their entire team
And they
history.
lead the league in 9 shorthanded goals. We've seen that before from the Battalion.
Mm-hmm. They like to play shorthanded, it seems. Oh, I still wouldn't recommend it's a recipe for success, but if they can get their power play going like their penalty kill, this will be an even more dangerous team. Copeland tries to send the puck up, then he quick pass up for McDonald. McDonald, does he have the legs? No, he's not going to get in all alone, but he is killing time off. 40 seconds left here on the penalty. Gives it across to Nelson. Nelson sends it back to his zone for Winslow, and Winslow sends the puck back down to the Ice Dog zone, killing lots of time there. It was a good play by McDonald, Nelson, and Winslow.
Nice seeing McDonald get back on that penalty kill. Obviously, only his second game since coming back from an 18-game injury, so good to see that from him.
Copeland tries to bring the puck cross ice, and a good stick there by Bruskowski sends Bloom off. Bloom takes the shot, and it's into the glove of Rosenzweig. 9 seconds left on the man advantage here. Still 0-0.
Yeah, and you ask, well, why do they have so many shorthanded goals? And the easy answer is just they're so fast. They have so much speed on this team that you see Bloom there, you see McDonald before, and when you have that kind of speed, as soon as you can create those loose pucks in the neutral zone, you can get those chances like Bloom just got. And it's no surprise that they have 9 shorthanded goals this season so far. And honestly, this team, they can get things going. And when you can score shorthanded, you can get all those extra goals are going to help with the fact the power play is kind of struggling.
Hislop about to step back out on the ice. And he does. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey, and the Ice Dogs send the puck down into the Battalion zone, but that'll go for icing. So we'll get a face-off here down in the offensive zone for North Bay.
Yeah, the Ice Dogs are, obviously we talked how they're having a very tough year. They're last in the entire Ontario Hockey League. One of the things with the Ice Dogs that's going to be very important today is obviously what the goaltending get out of Rosenzweig, but I think it's also how they play defensively. Can they stop the transition game of the Battalion? Can they stop these kind of fast breaks? And so far, the Battalion have had a couple on the power play, so that's something to kind of keep your eye on later in this game.
Rosenzweig was the starting goaltender in that game against Sudbury a month ago, in which they lost 13-2. Jackson with the puck in the Ice Dog zone, skates around, tried to leave it for Nelson. Instead, LeBlanc gets a hold of it. LeBlanc looks for a chance, sends it in. It's blocked by Nelson's skate, and then he sends it up for Therrien, but it was out of his reach. Michaud twisting back into the Ice Dog zone, still trying to hold on to it. Jackson comes away with it, looks to try and get a pass over to Therrien, but that one was stopped up by the Ice Dogs, now going the other way. The Ice Dogs, that's Waddick with it. Tries to get the puck to go center ice, but can't. And Procession gets a handle on it and sends it out, and Ride picks it up and then gives it to Keene. Keene dumps the puck in. Divinchentis tried to get a handle on it, couldn't. McDonald now at the blue line. Gets it up for Zito. It's too hot for Zito to handle. And now, Zito and Potaloo nearly run into, or Zito and Hall nearly run into each other, really. For Zito, too, this is a much different looking Ice Dogs team than when he was on that team. Many trades have been made by Niagara this year. I believe Derek Lindemann said 25 and counting. The trade deadline is on Tuesday. We will have to get an exact total here when we talk to him. McDonald carries the puck in, takes the shot. Rosenzweig blocks it down. Lucan comes in looking for the rebound. Couldn't get a shot away. Now he's in behind the net, gives it in front to Zito. Zito couldn't get the puck or his stick on it for long. Now up the ice for Christopoulos. Christopoulos in his own zone, through the neutral zone with some speed. Leaves it for Petrov. Petrov sends it in looking for the tip with Tarasevich. Now Tarasevich runs into Rosenzweig, and we're going to get a penalty for that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that they're going to call interference on it.
He tried to stop up.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it happened
Potaloo tried to stop up, and it's not like he intended that. But we don't get something down there, and we got something down there.
Yeah, and especially considering the puck wasn't even there. Like, it's not like this was the puck was already passed. And he was kind of outside of his crease a little bit. His one pad was sticking out, which isn't a huge deal. But I think with Tarasevich, that's kind of an iffy call.
Yeah, well, I think it's iffy because of the Potaloo one.
Yeah, and I think it's just kind of, I don't think that's a call that you need to make. Now, if that was a play where the puck is closer to the net and there's more, chances for the Battalion to score, that's different. But I think in that case, you could have probably let that one go.
Well, not that I'm disagreeing with the call. I'm just saying if you let the Potaloo one go, right? So the Battalion back out on the penalty kill. They tried to clear it, couldn't. And a quick shot from Copeland is kicked away by Divinchentis. And then Van Steensel got a handle on it and sent it down the ice. Rosenzweig has to play it, leaving it for Jesus. Jesus holding the puck in his own zone. Sends it up ice for LeBlanc. 2 LeBlancs on this team. There's Andrew and Jacob. Brothers, of course. Van Steensel sent the puck down the ice, and then it hit the penalty box at the top and bounced down, nearly hitting some kids, but they're going to get a souvenir here, so we're going to get a stoppage here. Minute and 26 left on the Tarasevich penalty. No, we're not going to get. They're conferring here to see if they're going to give Van Steensel 2 minutes here.
Well, the Battalion are maybe saying, hey, we have so many shorthanded goals.
Yeah, why
so
not?
We might need to get some offense going, and they're going to say it goes off.
It goes. So that's Jack Hennigan saying that the puck was off the glass.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be no penalty. But I mean, when you're facing off against the league's worst power play and you have the best penalty kill, I mean, I don't think you're really too worried about taking penalties. You still don't want to take them. But it might be. It's still not a recipe for success, but it might not seem so bad against, like, say, Oshawa when you're playing them and they have the second best power play, right? Ertl tied up on the face-off, wins it. However, we get a quick whistle there, so we're going to redo it here.
Something that the Battalion do really well on the penalty kill is that they don't allow a lot of high-quality chances in the high slot area in the kind of the middle part of the ice. They keep a lot of the shots to the outside, and I think that's something to keep watching. Is now I think we're all good.
Oh, they had to reset the time. There was 2 seconds that had gone off the clock. Kennedy with it in his own zone, sends it up ice. It's going to go out of the Battalion zone, so Niagara is going to have to regroup in their own zone. Niagara with the puck. Get it up to Lavoie. Lavoie goes cross ice for Michaud. He's knocked into the boards hard by Kennedy, and now Bruskowski has the puck behind his net. Bruskowski taken off, though. But they still happen to get the puck up, and it goes up and over the boards again and over the glass and into the netting. 1 minute and 2 seconds left on the Tarasevic penalty.
Well, McDonald back on the ice here. One of the things I wanted to say is you can tell that he still needs to trust his line mates. We were talking about this in the pregame show. There was one play where he brings it up, had at least one other player with him, and elected to shoot from almost the blue line. I think with McDonald, he's going to have to start seeing some of these players and saying, hey, I don't have to do this all by myself. I've got 2 incredible line mates with me. Let's try and help. Let's try and make something happen here. And I think he's getting a little bit pressure because he wants to score, and he wants to get back on that score sheet. But he's got to just trust his line mates a little bit. Something that maybe throughout this game he might get more comfortable with.
Well, as head coach, as McDonald picks up the puck and sends it down the ice, as head coach Ryan Houlihan said in the post-game scrum last game, said a mid-season form Kyle McDonald comes away with 2 or 3 goals in the last game. So we'll have to keep an eye out on him for sure. Lavoie now carries the puck back into the Battalion zone. Divinchentis stops it up behind the net in the trapezoid, and then he clears the puck to the blue line, but Keane keeps it in, sends it in from the point. Divinchentis turns that one aside, and now some board battle on the far side. Michaud back to Dan, to the point, to Lavoie. Lavoie sends it in for Michaud. Michaud back to Lavoie at the point, to Keane. Keane looking for some options, decides to skate it in, take the shot. It was chipped up. Can't get it out. 12 seconds left now on the Tarasevic penalty. Keane tried to get it to go again, but a good stick by Zito stopped that attempt. And then McDonald just sends the puck down the ice to Rosenzweig, and that'll kill off what's left on Tarasevic penalty. Michaud tries to bring the puck in. Good stick by Nelson, stops it up, but he comes away with the puck again. That's Michaud. Jackson over to Nelson. Nelson sends the puck in. Back to Nelson at the point. Takes the shot. Out front for Jackson! And sorry, Miss Jackson, but he's doing pretty good. That's Kyle Jackson again on the goal sheet for the Battalion. And my goodness, Kyle Jackson keeps on producing for the Battalion. 23 goals on the season, and that breaks a tie with his head coach Ryan Houlihan for 26 all-time in Battalion scoring.
Well, Ty Nelson does a great job. He tries to do the little bank off the boards there, and then he gets it back, and it ends up finding Jackson, who's completely wide open on that side. Rosenzweig has absolutely no chance of getting that puck as Jackson takes a little bit of time. And we've seen that first line kind of struggle in their last few games, getting some stuff going 5-on-5. It's great to see them getting on the score sheet, especially Jackson here early on.
And even then, they're not really back to their full first line as they're still trying to regroup from that penalty kill as Ertl and Bloomer are out there for a while. So it's Jackson out there with Petrov in procession. And now Jackson flings the puck down the ice. Jesus gets a glove on it and puts the puck down on the ice in his own zone. Goes up to Rebo. Rebo tries to chip the puck in. And instead he battles with procession at the Battalion blue line before they get it up to Petrov. Petrov leaving it up for Nelson. Nelson with a move. Takes a good backhanded chance. And Rosenzweig turns that one away as well.
What a nice pass there from Petrov as Nelson gets a great chance up tight. And that just shows how good of a playmaker Petrov is. And he's been very impressive. Like now, he's just, like you talk about how he's done, he broke that tie with Houlihan last game, and Jackson's now right back there with him. And Petrov has done such a great chance. When you look at how many assists he has, he's going to be an absolutely fantastic playmaker in the well, he is now, but in the future as well, with hopefully an NHL team in his future.
Well, he's already signed to the Edmonton Oilers, and puck back to the point for Christopoulos, takes the shot, and he talked about his education being in a locker room with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid during training camp, so you can't get much better than that. Tarasevic in the far side corner, taken hard into the boards. Wakely comes out and gets the puck, and he leaves it for Van Steensel. He can't hold on to it very long, and Lavoie picks it up in the near side corner. Now Niagara trying to get out of their zone, lose it to Wakely in the neutral zone. Van Steensel fanning on it as the puck came to him, and he tried to send it back in. Cato goes in with a great chance there by Dan, and DiVincentis turned that one aside. Now back out front, DiVincentis might not have seen that one as he made a weird looking save, but the puck still stayed out, and it's still a 1-0 lead for the Battalion. Ice Dogs with some pressure in the Battalion zone though. That's he's taken down. Knocked down to Lavoie. Lavoie tried to get the puck out, gives it to Dan. Now it's he in the slot, takes a shot, and it never got to DiVincentis as he was bouncing around there. And then another chance by Dan, never got to the net either. Rosenzweig looking for icing, didn't come to him as Keane got to the puck first. Keane absolutely breaking the ankles of Ertl, got around him in the Ice Dog zone. Bruskowski now with the puck, looking up for Bloom, and it's going to hit a stick and go flying well out of play. And we're going to reach our mid-period break here. We'll hear from Derek on the other side of this.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Well, Derek, we talked about it earlier. I know you might have touched on it in the pregame, but the Ice Dogs are looking like a very different team than when Pasquale Zito was there a month ago. How many trades have the Ice Dogs made now?
25 trades. They've used 29 to their 30 cards already this year. So there's not much movement going to happen there over the next couple days. But just getting to the flow of that first period, the Battalion took a couple penalties early, allowing the Niagara Ice Dogs with the best chances. But the Battalion did get that opener. That was probably one of the easiest goals Kyle Jackson had here to score. But there we see the effort. Josh Rosenzweig puts in, even though he's out of position. He's diving across to try and make that save. He's a really interesting goaltender every time he's here in the bay.
Yeah, he's a pretty good goalie there in Niagara for sure, and he's kept them in most games other than not. Thank you so much for that update, Derek. We'll hear from you more as the game progresses, and also a nice little video tribute there for Michael Potaloo on the video board, and a nice little reaction there from his teammates in Niagara, North Bay, and the fans in attendance. But we're back underway here with Ertl behind the Ice Dogs net. Sends the puck over to Jackson. Jackson was leaving it there for Ertl, but Ertl had already vacated the area, trying to keep the puck in the zone. He does. Gets it back to Jackson. Jackson takes another shot. It's blocked. Jackson gets it back over to Bloom. Bloom to Lukin. Lukin carries it in. Looks cross ice. Looking for Bruskowski. Bruskowski sends it into the corner and chases after it. Jackson picks up the puck. Now Bloom walking in. Tried to get a shot away. Couldn't. He's knocked down. And it's to Ertl on the far side corner. Ertl takes the shot. It's tipped to the last second as they try to get another chance away on Rosenzweig, and it went high and over the net. Battalion with great pressure here. Bloom skates around into the face-off dot, took a shot. That hit a body in front, never got to Rosenzweig. Puck now dumped down the ice. Bruskowski going after it, and we're going to get an icing call here. So those Ice Dogs, after being hemmed in their own zone, their only option was to send the puck down the ice. And now they're going to be starting with a defensive zone draw again.
Yeah, and Ertl keeps that play alive earlier in that play. One thing that I'd love to see, though, from that top line, I think they need to shoot. There were a couple of times I think Lukin had a chance there where he tried to make one too many passes. They just got to get pucks on net at this point and, you know, allow the kind of tips and those shots and really take Rosenzweig and you got to take those advantages of the shots and try and get some in the back of the net.
Big hit there by McDonald. We're going to get another penalty here against the Battalion as they took down, I believe that's Hall right in front of Derek. Derek had a good vantage point of that. We'll get a hold of him. But the Battalion back to the penalty here, or penalty kill here as McDonald just took his man absolutely down right in front of him. And we'll see if we can get a hold of him now. Derek, that happened right in front of you, 5 feet away, not even. What did you see on that one?
You know, I thought it was a little bit of a push there from the side, and thought he was going to come right in here. Just a few snowflakes came down on top of us, but that was right there in the action. And the Niagara Ice Dogs are going to be back on the power play for the third time tonight. Battalion gives them a lot of opportunities to stay in this game early on.
Just so you know, I got a text message from Papa Mike saying you look like you're in prime position to get another Wakely head down there.
Oh, yeah, I need one.
All right, we'll hear from you again. Thank you, Derek. Minute 50 left on the McDonald penalty here as he took his man down, like I said, right in front of Derek, and then you could hear some of the chirping going back and forth with Zito right there as well. Keene to Christopoulos. Christopoulos gets his man off the puck, and now Tarasevic stops up and sends the puck back down the ice, but Keene picks it up at the face-off dot in center ice to Lavoie. Lavoie tries to carry the puck in. He does, but loses the handle on it, and Lucan just bats it away and down the ice. Keene and Bloom battling for the puck. Tarasevic now comes in with Michaud. Tarasevic battling it out. Leaves it for Keene. Keene picks it up. Minute 10 now left until McDonald rejoins the play. Now a sneaky pass up ice to Waddick, but well offside.
Christopoulos almost got caught there.
He almost did.
Yeah, right. If this penalty ends and Niagara doesn't score here, out of the 14 minutes that's going to be put out of this period, 13, 14 minutes, 6 minutes of that's going to be on the power play for Niagara. That's almost half of the time of this period that's gone by so far. Battalion needs to not take so many penalties here and tighten this thing up. Now, obviously, the goaltender interference wasn't really nothing you could really do about that, but there have been a couple of not great power penalties that they've taken.
Yeah, there's been a couple of ones that make you scratch your head a little bit. And the other thing as well, as it comes out to Bloom in the slot, takes the shot. He picked his corner and just missed the net. Back to Nelson at the point. And at one point, I don't care if you're the 20th ranked power play or not, you get enough chances, right? You're bound to get one at some point. I mean, you're still clipping at a 17% chance, so you have scored goals,
Now,
almost 18%.
Said, only 4 shots on goal so far in all that power play time.
Yeah, that's true. Over to Podolou. Podolou had the best looking chance, and now a quick shot by Jesus. And Podolou's chance came right in the first minute. Back to Jesus in the neutral zone. He goes cross ice for Andrew LeBlanc. Loses it on the cross ice pass to Hislop. Hislop now skates it down. 15 seconds left in the man advantage to Niagara. Over to Bloom. Zito now battling with the puck in the far side wall. Gets it up to He. 3 seconds left until McDonald rejoins the play, so that'll kill this power play as well. Tarasevic sends the puck back down the other way, or Petrov rather. McDonald and Zito out there now as well. McDonald stops the cross-ice pass with his skate, but he has to chase after it with Jesus getting to it. But Jesus loses it to Petrov. McDonald on the far side half wall just shovels the puck back to Bruskowski. Bruskowski sends the puck back behind the net for Petrov. Petrov leaves it for Jackson. Jackson looking for some options. Skates around, gives it to McDonald. McDonald back at the line. Sends it in for Winslow. Back to McDonald. McDonald with a nice move to get around Copeland. Then he loses the puck on the near side half wall, and Copeland picks it up. Cato through the neutral zone, just dumps the puck into the Battalion zone and chases after as the Ice Dogs go for a quick change. 6 minutes left here in the first period. Battalion up 1-0. Jackson, the goal scorer. As it looks like we're going to get another penalty here, but this time it's going to go against the Ice Dogs. Terrian chasing after it. And that's going to get the whistle blown there as the Ice Dogs touch it, as it's O'Flaherty who touched it. And now we'll have to see what the call is here. Looks like too many men. 5:45.
It looks like they might have called on. But yeah,
whatever, it doesn't matter. They're on the power play.
I think what is going to be important here with the Battalion is that they've had a lot of time. They've had some time on the shorthanded in the zone, but it's going to be interesting to see how they can put some offensive pressure here. Still only 4 shots for them as well, and they'd love to put at least 1 or 2 more before the end of this period.
Well, the Battalion are clipping along at a 20.9 power play, 14th in the league. The Ice Dogs penalty kill, 71.7% at 18th in the league. So check from behind is the official call. 2 minutes on the clock as the Battalion get 2 guys kicked out of the face-off dot, starting with Zito, then Ertl, so Wakely comes in and wins it. Puck sent around, Jesus now has it. Wakely, good keep at the blue line, gets it in. Ertl, cross ice to Zito. You know Zito's going to want to score here against his former team. He goes cross ice again to Wakely, sends it in for Ertl. Ertl with a good chance to Zito. Great save by Rosenzweig. Cross ice, and they had a wide open net, but Jesus saves and stops that one. Dan tried to send it in, couldn't. Michaud now picking it up. 1:20 now left on the man advantage, and the Battalion are stuck in their own zone, but Zito picks up the loose puck and decides to go the other way with it. Zito gets the blue line, sends it to Van Steensel. Van Steensel sends it round. Jackson leaves it for Petrov. Petrov stops up, goes back to Nelson at the point. Nelson to Zito. Zito takes the shot, hits Van Steensel, so the shot never got to Rosenzweig, and now the puck's back down into the Battalion zone. DiVincentis leaves it behind his net for Nelson, and Nelson now with some speed in his own zone, looking for some options, skates it through the neutral zone, leaves it back for Bloom. Bloom skates it in all alone, basically. Takes it around behind the net, gets it back to Petrov. Petrov to McDonald. Back to Petrov at the high slot in the far side boards. Back to Bloom. Bloom takes the shot, just missed the side of the net. Petrov gets it at the far side half wall again to Jackson. Jackson takes another shot. Tried to knock it in was McDonald. That would have been high sticking though. His stick was well above the crossbar. Back to Nelson at the point. He goes cross ice for Petrov. Petrov can't keep the puck in. 15 seconds left now before O'Flaherty comes back into the play. Petrov skates it in, stops up. Looks for some reinforcements, goes cross ice to Bloom. 5 seconds, he takes a shot. That one hit Keane and went wide. Back to Petrov. And we're back to 5-on-5. Nelson now with it, goes cross ice for Bloom. Back in for McDonald. McDonald tried to bat it in, and he's got to be wondering, what do I have to do to buy a goal?
Yeah, and right now, what I'm seeing from the Battalion on that power play is, and especially the very first possession that they had in the first half of that power play, they tried so hard to get these perfect passes in the perfect spot. I'd love to see them take more shots, especially when you have a guy like Nelson in the back. We saw him score against Oshawa. Let him take some shots out there. And we saw Jackson took a shot. I think Bloom took a shot earlier. I'd love to see some more shots from the perimeter from the Battalion instead of that perfect pass.
Christopoulos takes a shot. It hit a stick and fluttered over the net. Now with it, that's Jacob LeBlanc. He loses it, though, as Procession's in there. Gives it up to Tarasevic. Tarasevic skated in, left it for Procession. Procession goes behind the net for Tarian. Tarian looks to go cross ice, can't get it. Christopoulos comes in, trying to take another shot from the point, but couldn't get it to go, and now LeBlanc going the other way. Lavoie couldn't get the puck to go very far. Gets up to Christopoulos, leaves it for Tarian. Tarian taken down on a good hit there by LeBlanc, and the Ice Dogs regain possession. Now the Battalion with it. Tarasevic on the near side wall. Skates across ice, leaves it for Procession right out front. Lukin! He scores! What a move by Alexander Lukin. He got right around Rosenzweig, and as he was falling to the ice, was able to tap it in. And for Lukin, that's his 4th of the season as he runs to the bench. Literally.
I love how Houlihan gives his defense the absolute confidence to step up in that play. Remember, Lukin's a defenseman, and he's up there almost in the crease, and he obviously gets rewarded there with a really nice goal as he tries. He almost got a little too fancy, almost lost it, but he was able to get it around Rosenzweig, and now it's 2-0. Which is not a bad place to be here when you consider the amount of time they've been on the penalty kill.
No, not at all. Hislop, if you're the Ice Dogs, you're pulling your hair out at the amount of chance you've had on the power play and can't score. Zito with it. Skates it in, takes a shot. Rosenzweig stops that one up. And he stops that one. 2:30 left, 2-0 Battalion lead.
Yeah, and again, you talk about the chances that the Ice Dogs had. The Battalion have done a great job of shutting them down on that power. No real good chances on the power play so far, and they've had a couple of good chances, but man, it's been a great clinic for penalty killing.
McDonald takes the shot. It's just wide of Rosenzweig into McDonald, and we're loving it as Kyle McDonald back on the score sheet.
Okay, I don't want to take credit for this, but I just want to say
I don't want to take credit for this.
I just want to say that I talked about how Petrov is going to be an absolute great playmaker for McDonald, and those are the goals right there that McDonald needs to. When we talk about trusting his line mates, that's what Petrov can do for you. And we saw him an absolute perfect play. So maybe this lets McDonald kind of say, hey, I don't have to do everything myself. I love that play from Petrov, and I'm telling you, for the rest of the season, watch out for that because that's going to be happening quite a bit.
That's Kyle McDonald's 10th of the season. You know, when the season started and he came back from Belleville, I don't think anyone thought it would take to January to see his 10th goal. But that's what happens when injuries are a part of the play. And Kyle McDonald, and you know what? I'm going to make sure I tell Ryan Houlihan that you're not taking credit for his decision.
No, but I'm going to take the broadcast credits.
There you go. Okay, we'll give you that. 3-0 Battalion lead. Shots on goal now have, gotten out of hand a little bit, 11-4 in favor of the troops.
Well, here comes this third line, something we haven't seen pretty much we haven't seen it this much this period, but that Van Cecil, Wakely, Tarasevich line.
Speaking of, they get a good chance right there with Tarasevich knocking it in, and Rosenzweig just got a piece of it on the end of his skate, and Wakely tried to whack it in, but Rosenzweig fell over and got the puck.
And we talked about how Tarasevich had such a good game against Oshawa, picking up a goal as well. And I love that he's getting awarded onto that third line. He was on the second line before McDonald came back, and then obviously he took a puck in the face, and everything was downhill from there as he got demoted to the fourth line. But I love this third line, especially with Arnsby not being in the lineup this afternoon.
For those of you at home that are worried if Liam Arnsby's being trade bait, I've been told he has strep throat. Whether or not that's true, we'll find out. So he's not here because he's not feeling that great. Yeah. And as anyone knows that's had strep throat, it's not a picnic.
And it's contagious. So
it
you
is.
Definitely don't want to bring it around people. But it's, so far, what can you say about the Battalion? Outside of it's 12-4 of the shots for the Battalion. Outside of those penalty troubles, and even with the penalty troubles, it's really been a dominated period for the Battalion for the most part, and you love to see that.
To Keane at the point. Keane looks to take the slap pass route, but can't get it to go. Another shot comes in well over the net of DiVincentis, and a good chance there by the Ice Dogs to try and tip the puck in on DiVincentis, but then the puck is just knocked out of the zone and off the glass and out of play.
And DiVincentis has had a pretty easy afternoon so far. He's made one or two really nice stops in tight, but they're not even that difficult when you consider the fact that he has such good positioning. One of the things that makes him such an elite goaltender is that he can move east to west super easily. So he doesn't need to make these crazy stretch passes because he's already in position. And that's something that I think that is you might not realize it, but makes DiVincentis so good.
Well, how many times, you see guys go down and they do the splits. DiVincentis, when he goes cross ice, he's almost in the butterfly. Because he's just, as you mentioned, so good at his east-west movement. Battle now behind the boards, or behind the net of the Ice Dogs. That was Ride. Gets it back to Bruskowski, though. Takes a shot. Rosenzweig saw that one coming. And like a good back catcher, gets his glove on it.
Well, minute 14 to go. 3-0 for the Battalion. Very similar to how they were against Oshawa, but they played a much better period. They really kind of dominated this period outside of the fact that they spent 6 minutes of it on penalty kill. And even then, I would say that they had better chances than the Niagara Ice Dogs. This is the kind of game you need for the Battalion, but they need another 40 minutes of this, and they need to dominate this game to kind of, I think, get back to the groove a little bit after a couple of shaky games.
Bruskowski sends the puck around behind his net to Nelson. Nelson up to Ertl. Ertl goes cross ice. Bloom picks it up. Bloom chips it up for Bruskowski. Into the final minute now. Bruskowski carries the puck into the zone. Looks to go up front. Can't get it past Jesus. Now out front for Ertl. Ertl couldn't get the pass to go. And the Ice Dogs regroup. He back to Jesus. Jesus tips the puck out of the zone. Gives it to Bloom. And now Nelson carries it in. Nelson with a nifty move. Tries to get it out front. Can't get it to go. And is kept in the zone by Lukin until he chips the puck out himself. The most recent goal scorer for the not the most recent goal scorer for the Troops, but this guy who has the second goal. Those goals are scored so quickly that you start to think they start to like blend together in your head.
I guess you could say it was a Lukin for the goals.
I'm done. This is it. That's the end of the broadcast, folks.
Go
home, Battalion. It's true. Jackson leaves it back for Terrian. 7 seconds left on the clock. Terrian looking for another chance for the Troops. Sends the puck out front. Jackson couldn't send that one in. Christopoulos with the last second chance. Doesn't get it to go. The Battalion are up 3-0 after 20 minutes of play. And Ben, outside of the terrible puns, what's going on for the Battalion after 20 minutes?
Really good first period for the Battalion outside of those penalties, but even in the penalties, they kept DiVincentis's his play to the minimum. They gave up 4 shots in that period. They've done very well. They scored 3 goals, so we're just looking to keep that going for the next 40 minutes.
Well, we'll see if the troops are able to do so, and moving forward, we'll have Derek Lindemann rejoin Ben Sargent here on the Intermission Show. I'm Courtney Kenny. Of course, he's Ben Sargent. And as always, keep your eye on the front line.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sucrum, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And welcome back inside Memorial Gardens as we've reached the first intermission as the North Bay Battalion have a 3-0 lead over the Niagara Ice Dogs. Let's run down the scoring summary of the first period of play. Kyle Jackson got the Battalion on the board with his 23rd of the season from Ty Nelson at 7:51. Alexander Lukin with his 4th of the season from Tarasevich and Procession at 17:15 made it a 2-0 game. And then just 23 seconds later, Kyle McDonald with his 10th of the season from Petrov. That made it a 3-0 lead headed into the first break. 4 penalties in that period. Braden Hislop went off for tripping at 1:41. 5:30, Nikita Tarasevich for goaltender interference. Kyle McDonald for boarding at 11:13. And finally, Christopher O'Flaherty for a check from behind at 14:15. Shots in that period were 13-4 in favor of the Niagara Ice Dogs. Neither team was able to capitalize on the man advantage. Taking a look around the OHL tonight, or this afternoon, on this Sunday afternoon, a few other games already through the first period of play as the Sarnia Sting have a 1-0 lead over the Erie Otters. In Hamilton, the Oshawa Generals lead the Bulldogs 2-0. Sudbury and Mississauga are deadlocked at 0s. Elsewhere, you have the Ottawa 67s. They're up 1-0 over the Owen Sound Attack. And the other game in action sees the London Knights in the Sioux to take on the Greyhounds, and they lead 2-1. That game is through one period of play. Also, and the other game this afternoon, a 4:05 start in Windsor as the Spitfires host the Flint Firebirds. I'm going to welcome in Ben Sargent. Ben, an interesting first period, dominated by the North Bay Battalion, but the Ice Dogs did have 3 opportunities on the man advantage.
Yeah, and 2 of those penalties were not the greatest. We saw Hislop just a common trip early in the game. McDonald's hit was maybe not necessarily his fault as much as just the way that it kind of went in, and it is what it is. But the Tarasevic goaltender interference was kind of like an iffy play, and that was just kind of unfortunate. It could have gone either way, to be honest with you, especially when we saw Patalu get it kind of run into DiVincentis earlier on a few minutes before. But yeah, the one thing that was that's obviously with Niagara having one of the worst power play in the league is that when you have the best penalty kill, and we see why North Bay has the best penalty kill, they kept them down to 4 shots on the power play. They really kind of dominate. They had a great chance in the offensive zone shorthanded, and it's really just putting on a clinic right now against Niagara. It doesn't matter if they're shorthanded or not. It's outside of a couple of opportunities that Niagara has had, that DiVincentis has just said, nope. It's been pretty much all of the Battalion, especially in that last 5 or 6 minutes.
And you can't blame Rosenzweig for any of those 3 goals. Last one, maybe it was the shot from just above the circles. But the one goal I want to talk about is Alexander Lukin scoring from his knees as he tucks it in behind Rosenzweig and tucking it in the post. Biggest smile. He's always one of the best, happiest players when he scores a goal.
Yeah, and something that I said during the period was I love how Houlihan gives the confidence to his defense to allow them, and we see this quite a bit with Nelson, with Christopoulos. We haven't seen it too much with Lukin lately, but we see it here where they're able to jump into that play, and Lukin's all the way down into the goaltender crease at that point. And I think this is a goal where Lukin made an absolutely incredible play. I think it was a really bad defensive play by Niagara to let him have that much space, because he had seconds with the puck there, and nothing that Rosenzweig can do there. He's just flopping around, trying to get anything on the puck, and great stick handling from Lukin. You don't see that too often from a defenseman.
No, not especially when they're on his knees. That was something that I was talking about with Tom between the benches, Tom Martineau, is how much more confident Lukin is this year. We've seen him getting more involved in both the offensive play and rushing the puck. It's almost like last year he was not unsure of what to expect coming over here, and he's certainly looking so confident this year with the Battalion.
And I'm sure that Christopoulos has given him a couple of pointers, because we know how much Christopoulos loves to jump into the play and be kind of that offensive defenseman. And I think Lukin's getting some tips from him, which is always nice, again, going into next year where potentially Christopoulos might not be on this team going into an overage season. And I think Lukin can kind of step into his shoes a little bit. And I love seeing that kind of confidence at this level with these defensemen. And nothing more that you can really say about him other than what a fantastic goal. And hopefully we see that more in the future as well.
Well, we can't talk about this time of year without talking trades, because the overage trade deadline is only a day away. It's tomorrow afternoon at noon on the 9th. And then the official last day to trade everyone else is the 10th at noon. And then we'll see how the roster shake up going into the final half of the season. A lot of talk let's talk the Eastern Conference first. One of the big teams making the splash so far has been the Peterborough Petes. Yep. They picked up Brandon Othman before the World Juniors, and just recently they've jumped in with Owen Beck, who is probably one of the best face-off centers in the OHL from the Mississauga Steelheads. And also they've picked up, just taking a look at my roster, they just picked up Avery Hayes and Gavin White from the Hamilton Bulldogs. So they're adding quite a few pieces to the puzzle, and they also have Michael Simpson as the goaltender there in Peterborough.
Yeah, and he's right now leading in goals against average, and he's and we talk about fantastic goaltenders, and that's kind of what you need. And the Petes are really trying to put a push. If you look at the top 2 teams in this league right now, with North in the conference, I should say, with North Bay and Ottawa, Peterborough's trying to really shorten that kind of leash on them. And I think what they're more thinking about in necessarily playoff seeding is how are they going to do in the playoffs in general, and that's where adding guys like Beck is going to be very important. Face-offs are crucial when you get into certain situations, especially defensive zone face-offs when you're late in games, and offensive zone face-offs as well when you're in a position where you need to score a goal, whether it's on a power play or it's late in a very critical situation. So I think with the Petes, they're putting themselves in a very good situation, and North Bay is going to be watching and seeing, okay, what kind of trades are people around us making? What are we going to be dealing with as we go into the last stretch of the regular season and into the playoffs? And the Petes right now, there was talk about them potentially maybe be in kind of the lottery for Shane Wright when he was announced that he was going back to Kingston. But it's pretty safe to say I think they're kind of out of that when they got Beck and they've made these trades. And I think that the Petes are putting themselves in a really good position for the next little bit.
The other team they're up against in the East Division is the Ottawa 67s, only making one move just recently, adding overager Logan Morrison from the Hamilton Bulldogs.
Yeah, and the 67s obviously don't hit a whole lot of they're an amazing team right now. Even when we talked about it, they continue. They're 5 points now ahead of the Battalion, and they're kind of making that that lead longer and longer as both them and London, who North Bay are chasing for the overall standings, are both winning so far. And the 67s are a team, again, I don't think they need to make too many different changes on their, just like the Battalion. I don't think they need to change up too much stuff, and it's going to be an exciting playoff, I think, especially when you start breaking down, when you see those lower end teams start maybe an upset, but if you assume the higher end teams are going to get to those semifinals and finals, it's going to be exciting when these teams kind of bunch together and they start playing together.
Yeah, Ottawa does have the goaltender in Max Donosu, and oddly enough, this trade with Hamilton was the first trade that the Ottawa 67s have made since 2019 when they acquired Stephen Laforme from the North Bay Battalion. The other Eastern Conference team is the Barrie Colts, who are currently second in the Central behind the North Bay Battalion. They're an interesting team because they've made a trade early on. They sent Hunter Height away for some draft picks. They brought in Tyler Savard from the Sioux Greyhounds. They got Brant Clark back from the LA Kings. They were in the Shane Wright talk. There's talk about they still have an import. Edward Sale is still out there, who they drafted last year. He's predicted to be a top 5 NHL draft pick this year. And they got a cupboard load full of draft picks. They've got 5 second-rounders next year that they are sitting there waiting. They can potentially add 2 more players at the deadline.
And I feel like they will. Again, we're only about 2 days away from this deadline, right? So I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Barrie tries to get stronger, because the question that you always have to ask yourself as a GM is saying, how do we attack the now, and then how do we figure out the future? And that's something that Adam Dennis is going to have to figure out as we get into next season. It's going to be some juggling with a lot of overagers that he's going to have to deal with, and how he's going to build this team for the future. And I think Barrie's kind of in a spot where they have to choose between the future with those draft picks and how do they think that they can build a team that can contend with the Battalion, with the 67s, with some of these Western Conference finals. And that's going to be an interesting question to see if they answer that.
And I know we talk a lot during the games with Barrie about Marty Williams, him head coach. He always seems to find a way to get one of the most competitive teams out there. Yeah. They got their goaltender, Ashton Thornton, who is an NHL draft pick. They got him in the offseason from Sarnia, and they're set, too, to make a playoff run. That's interesting because that's 4 teams along with North Bay in the Eastern Conference that are trying to push for a title. And then you look at the West, 5 teams over there trying to make a push. Windsor Spitfires, who've come out of nowhere. They were the team that made it to the finals last year. They've made a couple splashes. They went and picked up Jacob Holmes from the Sudbury Wolves, Brett Harrison from Windsor, and I think that was all the trades Windsor have made so far, but they're an interesting team. Oh, sorry, they also picked up Aiden Castle and Rodwin Dionisio from the Niagara Ice Dogs. They're also looking to get back into that Final Four this year.
Yeah, and the thing that's really kind of exciting about the OHL is the fact that there's only 2 teams per conference that don't make the playoffs, which means that even the teams that might struggle or who are sitting kind of lower in the standings, they can still make a push, and they can still make themselves a push at the trade deadline to be a great playoff team. And I think that's really exciting. If you think as a Battalion fan that you say, hey, look, we went to the finals last year, we have a better team this year, we can get back to it. I think you have to look and say there's going to be a lot of teams they have to get through that are going to be getting a lot better, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the playoffs shake out, because there's no guarantee that you're going to make it that far. And no matter how good of a team is on paper, it's going to be how you play. And I think some of these teams are going to give North Bay a run for their money after this trade deadline.
Another team, interesting enough, is the Kitchener Rangers. They're not high up there in the standings, but they're making a splash. Since the start of November, they have acquired Leighton Moore, Francesco Akuri, Danny Zilkin from Guelph, and I thought one more, Kitchener. That is it. So the Kitchener Rangers putting themselves up there again amongst some of the leaders, looking for possibly making it back. They're one of the, not really the top echelon of the OHL, but they always are a great team for their community.
Yeah, and you always look at the teams who seem to go to the Memorial Cup out of the Ontario Hockey League, and for some reason, London and Kitchener are always those 2 teams that are always seem to either be in the finals or going to that Memorial Cup, or at least in their own conference finals. Kitchener is going to be a very good team this year, and if you're the Battalion, you're thankful that you only have to see one of those teams if you get all the way to that place. But yeah, Kitchener, it's going to be tough though when you're facing a team like London, and you have and they're so good. They've got such great goaltending. They have great offense, great defense. it's going to be interesting to see how much of a push they put into it. And your hope is almost that you don't see them in the playoffs and somehow somebody upsets them almost at that point.
Wow, we're almost out of time here. There's still two teams to talk about in the West. We'll get to those in the second intermission, but we've got a game here in North Bay as after 20 minutes of play, it's the North Bay Battalion leading the Niagara Ice Dogs by a score of 3-0. When we'll come back on the other side of this commercial break, Courtney Kenny will rejoin Ben Sargent for all of your action here of Battalion Hockey on the Frontline broadcast.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
And welcome back inside North Bay Memorial Gardens. The two teams are ready to go about their business once again here with the North Bay Battalion up 3-0 over the Niagara Ice Dogs. I'm Courtney Kenny, he's Ben Sargent, and we're ready for another 20 minutes of action-packed hockey here for the troops. As the Battalion again in their road greens are going left to right this period, and the Ice Dogs in their road whites are going right to left. As the puck is stuck here at the penalty boxes here, as there was a bit of a dust up. Michaud now carries the puck in the Battalion zone. And now it's McDonald getting the puck up quickly to Petrov. Petrov skates it in, looks for a pass out to McDonald, although Petrov may have had the better lane. Gets it out front back again to McDonald. He gets taken off the puck. He was in the slot looking for his second goal of the game. Michaud knocked off the puck by Christopoulos, who gets it back quickly up ice to Petrov. Petrov now with some speed once again tries to get the puck in deep. Can't get it to go, and now O'Flaherty sends the puck around behind the nets to Rebo. Rebo stopping things up, looking for where his teammates are going to be, and gets it up to Waddick. Waddick looking to go cross ice, loses it to Bloom though, however. And now Bloom gets it up to Nelson. Nelson leaves it for Bloom. Bloom to Jackson. Jackson takes another shot! And Jackson, with his second goal of the game, gives the Battalion the 4-0 lead on his 24th of the season, officially breaking that tie with Matvei Petrov. Although you got to think Matvei Petrov is going to keep moving up the list himself.
Yeah, we see that great shot from Jackson, and you see how many goals he has this season. It's something that he gets in that high slot area, and not really much of a chance for Rosenzweig to make a save there. And what an absolutely fantastic play by the troops, putting some great pressure here in the first minute of the second period. This is what they need to do. They need to play a solid 40 minutes to end this game, and so far, so good.
So, Kyle Jackson has 138 points. That's good for 25th all-time on the Battalion scoring records. as the Ice Dogs get going. Coming up now is Aaron Van Loosen at 24 at 139, so we could tie him here tonight. And then after that, a name many fans know well, sitting with 140 points, Mr. Nick Paul.
Yeah.
So that's some good company.
Yeah, big for the Battalion when they first came here. And one of the things that the Battalion, we talked about this in the pregame, was their passing. Their passing has been crisp tonight, and that's been a big reason why they've dominated this game.
Yeah, their passing has been on full display here as Ride takes down Ertl. Real quick, Jackson has 138 points in 155 games. Nick Paul got to 140 in about 40 more games.
It's impressive.
And he's gone on to have a great career at the NHL level. So signing that big deal with Tampa Bay last year. Goes cross ice. Jackson with the puck again. Gets it back to Bruskowski. Bruskowski in deep for Ertl. Ertl looking to go cross ice to Winslow. However, the puck is out past Bruskowski and goes back into the Battalion zone before they send it in for Rosenzweig, who with that big paddle knocks the puck down. Puck sent up ice, left for Van Steensel in the neutral zone. Ertl has troubles gaining the zone, and then as Wakely tried to knock it in, it hit it off Ertl's shin pads and went across the ice. Keane tried a bit of a spinorama there to get past Ride. Ride now with the puck. Gives it up to Lavoie. Lavoie looking into the middle of the ice for He. And He can't get the puck to settle down before his puck is sent back behind the net with Bruskowski chasing after, but Cato picks it up on the far side wall. Puck behind the Battalion net. Winslow comes away with it. Bruskowski knocking out the stick of Cato twice now on the shift. Now Cato going off for repairs as he's lost a stick and a glove on the second chance. LeBlanc out front. Puck goes back to the point. Well, the other LeBlanc, Jonathan LeBlanc, or Jacob LeBlanc, sorry, gets the puck back. And then another shot comes in from the point. Again, we'll have to keep an eye on Cato for you as well.
Might have gotten away with a slash there, too. It looks like he got whacked right on the arm.
The Battalion are going to have a puck now. Oh, Matvey Petrov keeping pace. He's getting an assist on that goal for Jackson, so he's keeping pace. So
Jackson's seething on the bench.
Yeah, Jackson's like, come on, what do I have to do, Matvey? Although, to be fair, for Kyle Jackson, he's gotten there with 155 games. Matvey Petrov still has yet to play 100 games in the OHL.
And if you're a Seattle fan, you got to be excited. You got Jackson and you have Ty Nelson, two great players for this team.
You know, if I'm a Seattle fan, and now I'm a little bit biased towards the OHL. I think they had a sneaky good draft taking in, Shane Wright from the O, Ty Nelson, Tucker Robertson from Peterborough, Kyle Jackson. LeBlanc back at the point to his brother Jacob. Jacob takes a shot, knocked aside by Divinchentis. Back to the point for Wysick. Wysick sends it in. It's knocked down by Copeland, but he loses the puck. And the Battalion send it down the ice and go for a change. Jacob LeBlanc gets the puck up to his brother Andrew. And the puck is stuck in the near side wall now with Podolou in there. Bloom now comes away with it. Goes up the ice with some speed with Terrian and Procession. Bloom on the near side wall. Sends the puck back around behind the net. And Terrian has to chase after it. But the Ice Dogs get the puck back out. Podolou now with some speed through the neutral zone. Podolou stops up as Hislop was going to hit him. And just dumps the puck in. Kennedy now looking up ice for Bloom. Bloom gets it at the Ice Dogs blue line and just knocks it in. And Jesus picks it up behind his net. Podolou taking off the puck. But the Ice Dogs still have possession before getting it turned around and sent back down into their own zone. Terrian chases the puck into the end wall. He's chased hard by Rebo. And now Hall comes away with it, giving it back to Rebo. Rebo up into the neutral zone once again. Goes over to Clean. Clean to O'Flaherty. And now the Battalion have the puck stuck up against the boards and a scrum ensues. Back to Jesus at the point. Jesus takes the shot. It's knocked off his stick and goes wide. And now Petrov has it, stopping up, but the puck still gets out of the zone. And then Zito sent it through the neutral zone looking for McDonald on the other side. But he wasn't there as he came to support Zito. Back up to McDonald now on the near side wall in the Battalion zone. Gets it up to Zito. Zito stops up and gets some speed through the neutral zone, leaving it for Petrov. Dumps it back in for Zito as the two change positions. Zito on the far side wall. Tries to get the puck to go, gets it out to Petrov, but instead now Clean comes away with it. Gets it to Christopoulos. Christopoulos sends it to Lukin, and they get it up to McDonald. McDonald, nifty move to get around, goes in the neutral through the neutral zone, gains the Ice Dog zone, takes the shot. Rosenzweig turns that one aside. Zito with it on the near side wall now, takes another shot. Rosenzweig stops that one up, and then kind of gives the Zito a little bit of a look on that one as Zito skates by.
Yeah, again, great job by the Battalion defensively here. We see a lot of the offense. 6 shots so far in DiVincentis, and not any like really hard saves that he's had to make this afternoon. 4-0 at this point, and they've gotten scoring kind of from everywhere. Procession getting an assist also, by the way, on that one goal. I believe it was the Lucan goal, which now puts him back up to another point after breaking that 4-game point streak.
Bloom with a quick shot. It's off the blocker side of Rosenzweig and behind the net. Nelson sends it over for Jackson, but it rolls off his stick, and the Ice Dogs regroup with the puck before Ertl picks it up and carries it back in. Ertl into the near side corner of the Ice Dog zone, sends the puck back for Hislop, but he can't get to it. Now going the other way is LeBlanc. Or Lavoie. Lavoie sends across ice, can't get a pass to go, and now Ertl picks it up. Back up for Jackson. Jackson leaves it for Hislop. Hislop takes a shot, it's sent in. Rosenzweig stops that one, and then a dangerous pass goes to nobody through the slot. Nelson skates the puck around the end ball, gets it out front to Jackson. Jackson looking for the hat trick. Was turned away by Rosenzweig. Lavoie goes cross ice to Michaud. Michaud taking off the puck by Nelson, but he regroups. Now it's out front for the Ice Dogs. They couldn't get a shot away as that was Waddick. Couldn't get a good handle on that one. Up to Wakely. Ertl picks it up, sends it in for Wakely. Dallin Wakely in alone. Takes the shot. He can't get it to go as he had Rosenzweig at his mercy. But Rosenzweig got a piece of it. Wakely to Van Steensel. Back to Tarasevich. Tarasevich on the far side wall. Go back to Bruskowski at the point. Takes the shot. Rosenzweig gloves that one down. And Dallin Wakely, that close to getting his 19th of the season. My goodness.
Almost had a break of the head there. And you brought the head, so that means he has to score.
I was shamed into bringing the head. I got a text from his grandfather, Papa Mike, there just before I left saying, "You got the head?" And I said, "Do you guys?" He says, "You bet." So I had to up my game.
Well, maybe this on this shift here.
Well, we'll see. He almost got one there. Van Steensel takes a shot. I don't think Rosenzweig saw much of that as he had to look behind him, but it missed the net. Back to the point for Podolou. Gets it down the ice. He's played hard by Bruskowski. And then Tarasevich wins the puck battle, leaving it for Bruskowski. Wakely now sends the puck up ice to Tarasevich. Tarasevich can't get a good handle on it. And Dan picks it back up and goes the other way for the Ice Dogs. Dan with some speed. Goes around from a sharp angle shot. Podolou falls into DiVincentis for the second time this game. And then Dan takes another shot, breaking Wakely's stick. Van Steensel battling with Podolou now. Podolou behind the net. Gets it out front. Quick shot there by Dan is turned away by DiVincentis. And Podolou goes off for the change. Winslow now battling with Dan. Wakely gets another stick from Tarasevich and sends it up ice. And they get the puck out of the zone. Wakely and Tarasevich going off for a change before Winslow takes a bit of a big hit there by Lavoie, but he sent the puck down to the Ice Dog zone.
I have to be careful with interference there with Winslow not having the puck. Could have come back to bite the Ice Dogs there.
Procession couldn't get the puck around the referee in the Ice Dog zone. And now it's Copeland quickly through the neutral zone. That looked a little offside. Sends a cross ice for Lavoie. Lavoie gets the puck out front, but it goes right to Hislop. Hislop up to Terrian. Terrian taken down by Rebo. And now Jackson comes in for some support, but the puck's back down into the end zone. And now Lucan taking off the puck by Lavoie, and we'll get a penalty here. Looks like hooking is the call against the Ice Dogs as Lavoie is going to go sit for 2 minutes or less.
Well, Terrian, he comes back in after being a healthy scratch with McDonald and Winslow coming back to the lineup, and he gets a little hello here in the halfway of the second period as he gets kind of knocked down. I love seeing Jackson kind of sticking up for him. Terrian's kind of a small guy. Reminds me a little bit of Tarasevich in terms of size, and you got to love kind of the more veteran guys stepping up and helping out. And then with that penalty, just a classic hook right into the body of Lucan, and the Battalion have a chance to make this a 5-0 game here about halfway through this game.
On the power play, of course. Petrov gets it over to McDonald, sends it to Bloom. Bloom back to the point for McDonald. McDonald cross ice for Petrov. Petrov in deep for Jackson, looking out front for McDonald, can't get it to go. Then it's back to Nelson at the point. Gives it to Bloom. Bloom takes another shot. Deflected just wide of Rosenzweig's net. Petrov sends the puck in deep for Jackson. Jackson missed that one. And the Ice Dogs regroup and send the puck back down into the Battalion zone. 1:30 gone on the power play here as DiVincentis leaves it for Nelson. Nelson slowing things down before he turns on the Jets in the neutral zone. Carries the puck in. Goes behind the net to Bloom at the point. Bloom with some room on the far side wall into the corner. It's behind the net to Jackson. Jackson nearly lost the handle on it. And now it's back into the end boards for the Ice Dogs, and Nelson just keeps it in. Nelson with a good glove on it, gets it to Petrov. Petrov's pass goes cross ice for McDonald, but hit a stick and went well over the boards. 55 seconds left on the man advantage. Battalion lead 4-0.
Well, when you look at penalty killing, one of the big things that you might not think about but are very important is how you allow the power play to get into the offensive zone through the neutral zone. And one of the things that the Ice Dogs really struggle with is Nelson just walks right through in there. You've got to stop them. You've got to force chip and chase. You've got to keep them from just walking the puck in there. And that's something that Niagara struggles with, and that's why their power play is as weak as it, or their penalty kill, is as weak as it is.
Keane gets a hold of it, sends it down the length of the ice. DiVincentis out to play it, leaves it behind his net for Winslow. Winslow heads the puck up ice, leaves it behind for Wakely. Wakely to Zito. Over to Ertl. Zito picks it back up. Zito carries it around behind the net, gets it back to the point for Wakely, who gives it quickly over to Winslow. Winslow in deep for Tarasevich. Tarasevich back for Winslow. Gives it to Wakely. 20 seconds left on the man advantage. Wakely with the shot. And then he goes against his rebound and sends the puck back around the end wall for Winslow. Winslow in deep for Ertl. 10 seconds left on the clock. Back to Wakely. Wakely takes the puck out. His pass didn't go to anybody, and we're back to 5-on-5 as Zito has the puck. Zito leaves it up for Winslow, or Hislop. Hislop takes a shot. It took a weird bounce off the end boards and came out front. Zito picks it up, leaves it for Ertl. Ertl blew a tire, but still got the pass to Tarasevich behind the net to Zito. Tarasevich back out front to Ertl. The Battalion can't keep the puck in as Bruskowski tried to get a stick on it. Couldn't get it to go. 8.5 minutes left here in the second period. Now Bruskowski brings it in for Zito. Leaves it for Ertl. Ertl takes a shot blocked away by Rosenzweig. And now back to Zito. Zito all over the puck on this last shift. Sends it back in deep for Ertl. Ertl slows things up, finds Procession. Nifty move in for Therien. Therien couldn't get his quick shot off as he had Rosenzweig at his mercy again. What a neat, nifty play there by Ertl, Procession, and Therien. And now the shot comes in from Michaud to DiVincentis, and he kicks that one away. Back to the point now for Keane. And now Therrien's going to have a bit of a puck here, and now we're going to get a penalty, though, against Van Steensel. And Van Steensel really not impressed by that call, as the Battalion had a 2-on-1 developing, but we'll have to hear from Derek on the other side of our mid-period break, so we'll be back right after this.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
And we welcome you back to North Bay Memorial Gardens. We're back in North Bay Memorial Gardens here as the troops are up 4-0, and we have Derek Lindeman on the phone. Derek, what's going on there between the benches, and bit of an untimely penalty there for the troops?
Yeah, a little bit of untimely penalty. That's their fourth of this afternoon, as they've been giving the Niagara Ice Dogs lots of opportunities. But the Battalion have kept their foot on the gas when they're not in the penalty box. Having that fourth goal is taken tonight by Kyle Jackson. He's up to 24 on the season, and you can see they don't want to take their foot off the gas. They want to get things rolling here, as it looks like their lineup is set for the rest of the season.
Well, the Battalion also with a nifty play just before that from Erdl to Procession and Terry. And what's the vibe on the bench right now? Is it looks like they're just having their way with the Ice Dogs defense.
They're having a ton of fun out here on the ice today. They want to keep things going and gel these lines as they look to make a long run this season.
All right, Derek, we'll hear from you as the game progresses, of course. And we're back underway here with a minute 45 left on the power play. Andrew LeBlanc back to Copeland. Copeland skates the puck in, hounded by Lucan. Gets it back to the point. Now this Jesus walking the line. Jesus to Copeland. Sends the puck in deep for Podolou. Podolou had he in alone looking for the tip. And then Podalou's looking for the penalty as he was thrown into the net and takes the net off its mooring. So a minute 28 here, we'll have a stoppage in play.
If we go back to the Procession, absolute great setup earlier. One of the things that is interesting is this guy, you have to remember he's a rookie, and he's on that fourth line as a centerman because he's just kind of, there's just so many good centermen above him in the depth chart. Procession's going to be a guy, I think, in a few years when he gets his feet underneath him, that's going to end up being a top six, if not the number one center for this team. We've seen his shot has been very good. We've seen his playmaking ability. This kid's going to be special, I think, in a few years.
He is for sure, and he has been quite the hit for the Battalion, who got him in the late round of the late picks in the first round last year in the OHL priority selection. Very high on him was Adam Dennis, and not many teams had seen him since his team was out of it and didn't go to the OHL Cup. Minute left. Andrew LeBlanc across ice for Copeland. Copeland to the point for Jesus. Jesus back to Copeland as they play pitch and catch. Jesus has it again to LeBlanc. LeBlanc takes the shot and is sent back to the point. Jesus tries to send one in quickly, looking for Podolou. Podolou couldn't get it to go. Now the Battalion have the puck back out into the neutral zone with Bloom. Bloom gives it to Erdl. Good stick there by Podolou on the pass back by Erdl to Bloom. Now Podolou slows things down. 35 seconds left on the clock. Back to Copeland as we're going to get an offside call here. 31 seconds remain on the Van Steensel penalty.
Well, Niagara's been kind of interesting on the power play. They haven't been able to really make DiVincentis give up a lot of net. They haven't made him move east to west too much. The Battalion have done a great job of not blocking off those passing lanes. They're going to have to find a way to get through the passing lanes and get some east to west movement on DiVincentis if they want to score on him.
Nelson sends the puck in deep. Rosenzweig comes out to play it. Keane now gets it from his goaltender. Keane leaves it back for Lavoie. Lavoie up to Dan. Now it's Bruskowski who picks up the loose puck and sends it back out to the neutral zone. 5 seconds remain on the Van Steensel penalty. So we're back to 5-on-5 play here momentarily. There it is as Van Steensel's back out. Bruskowski and Zito battling at the Ice Dogs bench for the puck. And now coming away with it is the Ice Dogs all alone. Lavoie sends the puck in. How is that one not goaltender interference as he took DiVincentis right out of the net?
Yeah, and it looked like the puck, I don't know if it was McDonald who was in front, but it did hit off a Battalion player and went into the net. But I definitely see where you're coming from. They're calling it a goal on the ice right now. I'm sure they're going to look at it. This is if we look at the Oshawa game where he had like two kind of gimme goals, this is kind of in that same way where DiVincentis does everything right. He gets his body in the right position. He makes the right save even after they leave him all wide open and lots of daylight. A bad defensive play by the Battalion, and I'm not too sure they might let this one go. I'm not too sure. They're still talking about it down between the scoring table and the referee.
Well, if it stands, it'll be Lavoie's 14th of the season. And it looks now every single time, well, it's not him down there, but every single time we have a Jack Hennigan game, there always is a long review.
Well, he's on the phone, and I don't think it's to a pizza place.
No, well, if it is, I would like just a regular old pepperoni pizza will do, but
it's going to be interesting because goaltender interference is a very fickle thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll say, how is that allowed? It's such a subjective rule, and it's very hard to kind of see what's happening, but I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. Maybe Derek here will be able to tell us a little bit more, but it's going to be interesting to see what they call this one, but hopefully if you're the Battalion, you hope it doesn't come back to bite you.
Well, Derek, we know the play is under review, of course, likely for goaltender interference. Looks like we're going to get a call here. What are you hearing down there?
I'm hearing that they're reviewing it. They want to look at the initial offside call as that's what they're taking a look at. It's not the goaltender interference. It's the entry into the zone that the Battalion feel that they have a problem with. So they want to take a look at the offside call, not the goalie interference. So we'll have to see what happens there.
Well, the referees, both of them going to the benches and explaining things. They didn't take very long at either bench, and now they're skating back across the ice. So what are the linesmen tipping the hand at all in front of you there?
No hand tip coming at all. These guys aren't giving an inch of what's going on on the far side.
I'm kind of curious that they're looking at the offside. I would have thought it was goaltender interference for sure.
Well, down here I heard Ulan say to the referee, I want to check that offside, and you could hear the players on the way back to the bench. I'm pretty sure he was offside, and that's exactly what they're taking a look at. It's just questionable whether or not, exactly how far back was that offside call.
It makes you kind of wonder if they don't get the offside call, if they go, okay, well, let's look at goaltender interference. Remember,
calling it a goal, I believe, is what they just.
That's a shame. But I remember a few years ago, maybe you do too, Derek, where it was called a good goal or a bad goal against the Owen Sound Attack, and the coaches asked for another review, and then they came back and said it was no goal, or it was a goal.
I know they're still working hard on this tablet, Scott Ray, trying to figure out how to get this thing to work. He's trying hard, didn't get it out on time.
Technology, it'll defeat you if you let it. Thank you, Derek. A little bit of a deflating goal there against the Battalion. 4-1, it'll be Lavoie's 13th of the season on a highly questionable goal. But that's just me letting my bias out a little bit, I guess.
And it breaks the shutout streak as well for DiVincentis that he was going.
Back to Jackson behind the net. Skates it around. Well, best way to shove that one out of your memory is to go and score another one here. As the puck now goes cross ice, Clean with it. Clean going up ice. Gets it over to Hall. Hall sends it in. DiVincentis tried to make the save, but it never got to him as it was blocked in front. Now Tarasevic stops up, and the puck sent back down into the Battalion zone. Winslow with it behind the net. Winslow sends it up ice for Tarasevic. He's taken down on the play, and Clean gets a point shot away. Winslow behind the net. Cross ice for Petrov. Petrov tried to flip it up for Tarasevic. Never got that far. And now Petrov with it in the neutral zone before he's taken off by two Ice Dogs. Hall sends the puck back down to the Battalion zone. DiVincentis tried to stop that one up. Now the puck's back out front. Ice Dogs couldn't get a clean play across though. Michaud battling with Van Steensel on the far side half wall. Puck now up ice for Therrien. Therrien carries the puck in on the near side wall. Gets it back for Van Steensel. Van Steensel carries it behind the Ice Dogs net. Looks to go up ice. And now he's taken off the puck by LeBlanc. Van Steensel tries to get out front for Procession, who just sent that puck just fluttering over the net. Looked like it might have just bounced over the way it was from up here over Rosenzweig's head. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock as Kennedy takes a shot from a bad angle. And we get another stoppage here, 4-1 Battalion lead.
Well, if you look at the last 15 minutes going into that goal, the last 35 minutes, if you include the first period, it's really been the Battalion's game. And Niagara had a chance, or still has a chance, to get some momentum going if they want in this kind of game where they just haven't had any all game. And the Battalion need to have done a good job in the last minute and a half or so of shutting that down, and they have to continue doing so. Getting a goal would help a lot.
He with possession for the Ice Dogs through the neutral zone. Tries to get the pass out front, couldn't get it to find Potaloo, and the Battalion send the puck back down the other way. He sends the puck right back into the Battalion zone though. DiVincentis out to play it, leaves it for Nelson. Gets it up quickly to Procession. Procession looks for Therrien. Puck, as Therrien went offside, hit the Battalion bench and went back down. Hislop with it now in front of DiVincentis' net. Looks up ice for a quick pass up for McDonald. McDonald couldn't handle the pass. And now the Ice Dogs with it again. It's Rebo. Looks up ice. Sends it back in deep. And the Battalion in their own zone with it. As Nelson kicks the puck out front. And now it's coming quickly out front. Oh my goodness. They almost gave it to Jesus out front. But couldn't get a pass to go. Nelson now with speed in the neutral zone. Is out front for Zito. Zito, who had a clear opening on the net. Tried to find McDonald. Oh, my God, guys. Sometimes you just got to take the shot.
Sometimes you just got to shoot.
McDonald. In deep for Petrov. Leaves it up for Winslow. Winslow skates it in, takes a shot, turned away by Rosenzweig, and then McDonald keeps the puck in as the Battalion send it cross ice, hitting Petrov, but he couldn't hold on to it now as Dan goes in. Dan with the shot, hits the post as he beat DiVincentis cleanly, but couldn't beat the post. Zito, the other way, stops up, looking for some reinforcements, leaves it for Petrov. Petrov battling on the near side wall. Gets it back to Brskowski. Brskowski takes the shot. It's missed the net. Zito chases after it. Zito behind the net to Petrov. Petrov out front for McDonald. McDonald takes the shot, and that one's stopped by Rosenzweig, and McDonald loses his stick and glove in the process.
Yeah, you talked about that Zito play where he should have shot the puck there instead of trying to make the pass. And it does feel like sometimes the Battalion try to do that one too many move, that one too many pass. And that's a shot where when you're in that high slot area as Zito, you had a clear chance to be able to make Rosenzweig stretch a little bit by going out to his right-hand side. And unfortunately tries to make the pass to McDonald, and that's just an unnecessary pass. But McDonald, though, another glorious chance behind, and you can tell that he's starting to get more comfortable with this line of Petrov and Zito. And I think the Battalion right now, sometimes you get those chances where you just have to sometimes take the shot instead of looking to make the play.
It's that one too many move, man. It's going to, as we see the Ice Dogs.
Trying to play with four guys.
I mean, we'll take it, sure. Minute 45 left in the second period. 4-1 game for the Battalion so far. They also lead in the shot clock 26-11. Jackson in for the faceoff. Loses it to Michaud. Keane gets around his net, but he can't get the puck past the corner. Bloom sends it back in for Jackson. Jackson on the near side corner, battling it out with Ride. Now back to Jackson. Jackson sends the puck in deep for Bloom, and now we're going to get a bit of a match here as Clean gets Ertl in the face with a cross check, and the referees or linesmen get in there quickly to stop up that, as it looked like the two were ready to drop the gloves.
Battle of the Nines.
Literally, Clean getting in some good whacks on Ertl right now.
So this all started when when Clean actually interfered with Ertl earlier in this period, and that's kind of what started that's what kind of started this whole this whole kind of scrum. There was some extracurricular beforehand behind the play, and it looks like, I'm not too sure if they're going to give them a roughing. I don't think the gloves dropped, but we'll see if we see a misconduct potentially here. This is going to be a little bit messy, I think.
Well, I mean, he cross-checked the guy's face.
Yeah.
And I mean,
but I think they're going to figure this out. I imagine both will be definite roughening, and the question is, will there be another penalty that goes on top of that? Will there be misconducts? Will there be maybe we'll see what happens, but either way, this was definitely one of those ones that...
Oh, it's my favorite time of the broadcast when Ben Long has something to say. Hey, you can't talk! God, that's funny, isn't it?
For a guy who does the audio.
Yeah, what's going on here, Ben?
There we go.
Oh, now we can hear
channel. So, the ref's hand initially went up when it was Ertl cross-checked the Keane from behind.
Keane, yeah.
And then Keane turned around and gave him a two-hand. So I think they were both getting penalties there. Yeah. And then the roughing ensued from that point. So we'll see what they decided. But I think Ertl had the first penalty.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's definitely the retaliatory one for Keane.
But I think, and I could be wrong with this, but I think that Ertl did that cross-check in response to getting hit by, like, kind of some other extracurricular on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure who exactly started, but I remember seeing them roughing around a little bit, so that wasn't a surprise there. But it looks like the captains are going to try to, obviously, Arnsby not in the lineup today, but...
Cato back out there after losing his glove and being slashed, so...
That's good news for the Ice Dogs. They can...
But, yeah, I don't know. When you get a stick up in the face like that, though, like a cross-check, that's... Well, let's just say you're not trying to be the other guy's best friend.
The only thing up there right now is Ertl's 2 minutes. Nothing on the Battalion end.
So he's going to probably get a misconduct. Ertl's going to get a misconduct as well, as he's sent back to the back into the dressing room. But we don't even have Keane in the box, so I'm going to guess he's got a misconduct of sorts as well.
They either called them for fighting or they called them for misconducts. Either way, I have a feeling misconducts, which would probably be a 10-minute, which means they're going to miss the first half of the next period for the most part. But so far, the only thing on there is a 2-minute penalty right now against Ertl. So Ertl
Ertl to Keene. So the Battalion are going to have a power play.
Oh, sorry, the other way. My bad. They're both number 9. So
it's confusing.
It's a little confusing. Sorry,
Numbers are hard.
Yes, they are. Well, then they're the same number. They're hard. But yes, it looks like the Battalion are going to come away with on a power play there.
I was going to say it doesn't make sense that the Battalion would be on the penalty kill. You have the face-offs coming down in the Ice Dog zone.
That too, and then I was like, oh, wait, no, because I saw 9 and I saw Ertl, but I don't know, man. Scoreboards confuse me.
Yeah, they do.
All I know is it's
so
4-1.
that's the shots on goal. That's the actual score. The time's left. Tells you how much what period we're in.
Dude, I just look at like that middle part. That's it.
That's all you need to look at.
Either way, though, the Battalion are going to get a penalty here, and again, and it looks like serving the penalty will be clean. Clean.
Not being very clean now, is he?
All right, back to the play.
All right, minute 20 left. So 2 minutes for roughing and a game misconduct. So 2 minutes for cross-checking to Ertl. So Ertl just gets a 2 for cross-checking, and they send him to the box because I guess they don't want anything else to, or the locker room because they don't want anything else to do.
So coincidental matters and a game misconduct.
For Keene, yes.
For Keene. Surprising that Ertl didn't get that much, but there must have been some stuff that the referee saw that we didn't.
Petrov carries it in. Looks to go backdoor for McDonald. Just under a minute now left in this period. Minute and 20 left on the power play. Petrov looking to go backdoor again to McDonald. Leaves it for Bloom. Bloom in for McDonald. McDonald tried a quick chance from a sharp angle. And that puck, or the rebound from that was sent down to the Battalion zone. Nelson with it. Gets it back in. Bloom battling for the puck. Gets it to McDonald, who leaves it back for Nelson. Nelson to Bloom. Quickly to Petrov. Petrov's cross-ice pass tried to find McDonald. And when somebody has a shot like Petrov, I keep saying this, he's got to shoot more.
Yeah, a lot of assists, a lot of play. He can really make the play happen, but I agree. Like, he's a guy that has a lot of scoring potential that he just hasn't tapped into yet.
Nelson in alone. Couldn't get the puck to settle down. Oh, he looks skyward after that one with 5 seconds left as the puck never settled down for him, but he was in all alone on Rosenzweig. Out of nowhere.
He got kind of lucky. He went to actually dump the puck into the zone.
Yeah.
And then it ended up hitting off a shin guard of a Niagara player, and it ended up just kind of catapulting, so he got a chance at a net. But what a chance for Ty Nelson as he's looking for his 11th of the year.
Back to Nelson at the point. Couple of seconds, takes the shot, misses wide. And so we'll end the second period here with the Battalion up 4-1. 33 seconds remain on the power play at the end of, or at the start of the next period. So Ben, 40 minutes in the books, the Battalion up 4-1. How are we feeling?
This is a really good game for the Battalion. They haven't at really any point felt like the worst of the two teams. They played very good, a very good 40 minutes. If you look at the goal that they gave, it could have been goaltender interference. You know, it was kind of an unfortunate goal, but at the end of the day, the Battalion, this has been all Battalion, and they've got 20 minutes to maintain this lead.
20 minutes indeed, and we'll be back after the second intermission. Ben will be joined by Derek Lindemann once again for the second intermission show. I'm Courtney Kenny. Of course, he's Ben, and then our producer is also Ben, because that's how we like to play things. We just only hire people that have the same names. Anyways, we'll be back with more, and as always, keep your eye on the front line.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And we're back inside Memorial Gardens here through 2 periods of play as the North Bay Battalion lead the Niagara Ice Dogs by a score of 4-1. 2 goals in that period, 1 by each team. The first one, Kyle Jackson, made it 4-0 with his second of the night, 24th of the season at 1:09. Ty Nelson and Bloom with the assist on that goal. And then at 14:27, the Niagara Ice Dogs get on the board. Zachary Lavoie is 14th of the year from Declan Waddick and Nolan Dan. Few more penalties coming up in that period. Zachary Lavoie went off for hooking at 9:08. Owen Van Steensel for interference at 12:16. Then a mix-up at 18:33 as Justin Ertl went off for cross-checking. But the real story is Gerald Kane picked up a slashing minor, a roughing minor, and a game misconduct for physical abuse of an official, Category 2. So that's going to have to get some review as the league will take a look at that and see if any suspension is coming for that one. Now turning to the shots on goal in the second period, the Niagara Ice Dogs 7 for a total of 11, and the Battalion put another 14 on goal for a total of 27. Neither team has scored on the man advantage as the Battalion will have 33 seconds left when the third period gets back underway. Taking a look around the OHL as the other game, 5 going on, 1 more later tonight. Also through 2 periods of play, the Sarnia Sting, who we'll talk about shortly, lead the Erie Otters by a score of 5-1. The Generals lead 3-1 in Hamilton as they take on the Bulldogs. In Mississauga, the Steelheads lead the Sudbury Wolves 2-1. Elsewhere, the Ottawa 67s host the Owen Sound Attack as they lead 3-1. And another game up in the Sioux sees the Greyhounds and the London Knights tied at 3 apiece. The later game tonight at 4:05, the Windsor Spitfires host the Flint Firebirds. I'm going to welcome in Ben Sargent again, who doesn't get any time off here on this broadcast. The Battalion continued to push the envelope in that second period, picking up another goal by Jackson, but unfortunately they did give up 1 to Lavoie.
Yeah, and we talked. The goal was a little suspect. I don't know if you have an opinion on the kind of goaltender interference. Kind of an unfortunate one. He goes into the pad of Lavoie goes into the pad of DeVincentis, then it bounces off. I believe it was McDonald who was in front, but it was off a Battalion body. I don't know. Do you have an opinion on that goal? If that was clean, or if that was something that could have been called back?
I don't know. It's a very iffy call because he's trying to reach across the body of Dom DeVincentis. He's already down making that save, so it's hard for him to even contemplate trying to get across as Lavoie reaches across. So it's tough to say either way if DeVincentis could have regained his balance to get across. But I know the Battalion wanted the review of that offside. Everyone on the bench, including both coaches Scott Ray and Ryan Houlihan, thought the player came in before the puck.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. The fact that they went for the offside and not for the goaltender interference was a very interesting challenge choice, but obviously they felt like there was more chance of them getting overturned from the offside.
The way I'm going to just they explained it down there. So what happens is that the goal is automatically reviewed for the goalie interference, whether it's a good goal or not. And the Battalion wanted them to look on top of that for the offside. So that actually both get reviewed. Just it's automatic reviewed for the interference call.
Oh, that's good to know. But yeah, so for the most part, though, what I would find is in this battalion period, I think that there were they could have scored quite a few more goals. This could be a 6-7-1 game, but I felt like sometimes they always wanted to make that extra pass. Especially, I know we talked about the Petrov, Zito, and McDonald line, saying that McDonald needs to trust his line mates a little bit more, but it's getting to a point where it feels like Petrov and Zito are constantly trying to just give the puck to McDonald, and there have been a couple of chances that Zito and Petrov both could have shot it but elected to pass instead. So I think they're going to have to find that kind of fine line between passing and shooting, and when they want it, because realistically both Zito and Petrov have great shots and they need to take advantage of it.
Now let's take a recap of our players to watch as we've got through 40 minutes of play, is brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
We picked two players that were traded basically for each other earlier in the season, as the Niagara Ice Dogs got Michael Podolou from the North Bay Battalion. He's been held off the score sheet so far tonight. He's got 2 shots on goal, but the big number for him is 7 of 10 draws he's won for the Ice Dogs, something we saw. He was one of the better face-off centers for North Bay. Turning our attention to Pasquale Zito, the player that came back in return for Podolou. He has 1 assist tonight. He's taken 4 shots, and he's done well himself in the face-off. He's won 6 of 8 draws. So both players have not put a puck in the net, but Zito does have the 1 assist.
And Podolou's been, in that Michaud and Waddick line, he has been around the puck a little bit, especially at the beginning of the game and at times in that second period. But Zito, I think, has been the more impactful player in this game. I think Zito has done a good job with, again, I think he needs to shoot a little bit more. There have been a couple opportunities where he tries to make passes when, and I think they're trying to lean too much on McDonald a little bit, but I think Zito's had a very good game. His speed is something that's really helps him out, and that line is a super fast line with him and Petrov on it, which also helps with back checking as well. We saw this actually happen with Bloom earlier, where Bloom made a really nice back check because of his speed, which is something that you don't really think about, but is actually a huge thing that can help you out. And I think Zito right now is having a very good game, but I think he needs to him and Petrov both need to put the puck on the net a little bit more.
Well, with trade deadline only a couple of days away, let's finish off looking at the Western Conferences. There were still 2 teams that were making deals, trying to get into to make a good push for a playoff contender. That is the Sarnia Sting. They picked up Sasa Pastujov earlier before the Christmas break from Guelph Storm, and then picked up Christian Kairu from the Erie Otters, and most recently they picked up a couple of big players in Luca Del Belbaluz and Ethan Del Mastro from the Mississauga Steelheads. They also have the goaltender Ben Gaudreau, who was on the junior Olympic gold medal winning team.
Yeah, and obviously not the main guy that they went with. They went with Milic in the World Juniors for some of these later games. But yeah, Gaudreau's been a guy he's a very, very solid. He's from he's a North Bay native, and he's a very, very solid goaltender. And I think Sarnia is again on that same kind of idea where they're trying to push in a very difficult conference that they're in. And it's going to be interesting to see as they've already, if they're going to make any more trades going into it. But a lot of these teams have already made the trades going up into the deadline, and I don't expect the actual deadline day to be super, super busy, because a lot of these teams have already preemptively made a lot of these trades.
The one deal that everyone's talking about, though, is Shane Wright. We're going to get to him momentarily. London is the other team that they had a slow start. They're sneaking up there. They're now second in the OHL in points, just behind the Ottawa 67s. And they've gone out and they picked up Ryan Humphrey and Ryan Winterton from the Hamilton Bulldogs. And goaltending, they still have 2 good goaltenders. Brett Brochu, who was the goaltender of the year last year. He's going to be a workhorse from the London Knights, and they also have Bowen, who is a good rookie there for the Knights, waiting in the wings.
Yeah, and I don't think the Knights need to get any better if you're a fan of pretty much any other team. But it would be that I think would really push them over the edge. Wright is such a good player that even though, he struggled at the NHL level, but you got to remember, when you come down to the OHL level after playing at the level that he's been playing at, you're going to have so much more room and so much more room to kind of move around and be able to make the plays that you need to make. When you get to the NHL, the chance of how long you have the puck is so fast. You basically have to make split-level decisions. At this level, you have way more time to kind of make your decisions, and that's why some people struggle when they haven't played at that level before. And I think with Shane Wright, when you come back here, it's going to be a whole different game than what he's used to, and he's going to, I think, really thrive.
Well, the rumor going around right now on the internet and Twitter is that London Knights are the front runner right now for the Shane Wright sweepstakes, and if done, the deal looks like it's going to be Oliver Bonk, the defenseman, going to Kingston along with 6 draft picks, which is almost identical to the price that was paid for Mason McTavish last year by the Hamilton Bulldogs from the Peterborough Petes. But that is not done yet. That's not official. It won't be done probably until tomorrow. You'll hear the earliest that is Oliver Bonk is in the lineup this afternoon for the London Knights. So just speculation whether or not that's going to be a done deal or not, as the Barrie Colts are also one of the rumored teams to really be interested in Shane Wright.
Yeah, and if you're a North Bay fan, you're kind of hoping that he goes to London at this point and not to Barrie, because that would be very scary within your own conference. And man, I got to tell you, like, it's as soon as that the World Juniors was over, and there was that saying, hey, Shane Wright's getting sent down, and Kingston's like, yeah, we're trading him. That was a big scramble, and I'm sure that every single team, for the most part, that was in contention had to say, okay, is it possible for us to get this guy? Does he fit somewhere? And if you take a team like London and make them that much better, that is going to be very, very scary. And you have to say, where does Wright fit in that lineup? Most likely easily in the top 6, but in that top line. And it's going to be interesting to see how those lines shake. And if you're a player on that team, you got to be super excited. But if you're the one affected by that trade, you're probably also like, oh, that's unfortunate. But you got to be happy with getting a generational guy like Shane Wright.
Exactly, and we saw Shane Wright soar in that gold medal game for Team Canada. He got that second goal. He turned 19 on the gold medal winning game of the 5th. Let's talk about World Juniors. We didn't get to see most of the game. We got to see the final overtime period and that game-winning goal by Gunter right here at Memorial Gardens. So they kept it on the screen, but you know what? World Junior time is always exciting hockey, and you get to see, I like that we get to see those players right here at Memorial Gardens.
Yeah, and personally, I've always liked the World Juniors a little bit more than like Olympic and other kind of national teams, just because you're seeing the future. You're not just seeing players who are playing in the OHL. If you're a fan of NHL teams, you get to see their highly touted prospects playing in a very in the highest level, basically. It's like kind of like a mini Olympics in that way. And you also get to see, as an OHL fan, you get to see some of these players playing at a national level. Like, you get to see the Shane Wrights of the world, where it's just so much fun to be able to see these guys absolutely perform and thrive at the top end. And it's so much fun to watch. And I think it's going to be very interesting for some of these players. It's also a chance for them to get on the radars of some of these NHL teams that they might not be if they're undrafted. Like, you look at Milic, you look at what he did at the World Juniors being that goaltender. There's a good chance that there's a team that goes out there and says, hey, maybe we take a chance at this guy, and now all of a sudden he's kind of went from maybe not having an NHL career to now being able to get in there and have a very long career.
Yeah, not along with Milic, but you also had Connor Bedard and Adam Fantilli, who were probably one of the top 3 picks this year in the NHL draft. They put on quite the show, and we all know the story with Adam Fantilli is he is owned by the Rights Base who live in the North Bay Battalion. And really interesting story. It doesn't look like he'll be here anytime soon, as he's returned to Michigan to try and finish off what he started there with in the NCAA.
And I know a lot of people are hoping next year is going to be the year, and it'll be fun. Like, if we get to see Adam Fantilli here, it would be such a big boost for the battalion when you consider, again, we talk about the number of overagers. They can only keep 3 of them, and they've got a good number that are turning overage next year, and that's going to be very interesting as we go in. If they can get a guy like Fantilli, that's like that's basically like getting another first rounder after having hopefully a great year by the time they finish this season out.
Well, we're only moments away from puck drop in the 3rd period. We're all done for the 2nd intermission. When we return here on the Frontline broadcast, we'll see if the battalion can hold on as they lead the Niagara Ice Dogs by a score of 4-1 as we return to the Frontline broadcast.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kid's Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
And we're back for the final frame here of North Bay Battalion hockey as the troops lead 4-1 against the Niagara Ice Dogs. The Ice Dogs in their road whites are going left to right. The Battalion in their home greens going right to left from our broadcast vantage point. Nelson with the puck in his zone as the troops start with a 20-second power play here. Get it up to Jackson. Jackson a goal away from a hat trick. Sends the puck in around behind the net. Bloom back to Jackson. Cross ice to Nelson. Nelson to Bloom. Bloom looking for the slot shot with McDonald, and we're back to 5-on-5 as Clean is back out on the ice. Rebo. His pass out front gets picked off by Jackson. Back to the point for Nelson. Nelson skates it in, looks for the shot, can't get it to go. And now Bloom battling for the puck, gets the puck out front. And McDonald tries to get a hold of it, but Clean gets to it first, sending it back to his goaltender Rosenzweig. And now it's back to Nelson at the point. Nelson skates around behind the net. Sends it back to the point for Hislop. Hislop looks for the shot. It was nearly deflected in by Potaloo. Forgot what team he was playing for a moment. Thought he was back in Battalion Green.
I have to check to see if there was a mid-period trade.
Hull sends the puck in, takes a hit from Procession, and now Lucan behind his net stops down the play before giving it up to Hislop. Hislop fanned on his pass up ice, but regains control at the Battalion blue line. Back to Lucan in the troop zone. Goes up ice, leaves it for Terrian. Terrian can't get a hold of it, can't gain possession in the Battalion zone. Now the puck's back down into the Battalion zone. Divicentis plays it over for Christopoulos, sends it down the ice, and that's going to go for icing with just under 2 minutes played here in the third period. Battalion still lead 4-1.
Yeah, right, you see Earl coming out of the box there. It'll be very interesting to see how the Battalion play this third period. They're up 3-1. We'll see how aggressive they get off offensively, but it's been really kind of a clinic for them so far. This, at least for the most part of this game, where they've really just focused so much time in the offensive zone, in Niagara zone, that they've done a good job not giving a lot of chances to the Ice Dogs.
They haven't at all. Jacob LeBlanc gets the shot in. That one's tipped by Michaud. Michaud gets the pass back to LeBlanc at the point, and then Procession comes in and picks that one off before giving it back to Copeland behind the net. Christopoulos battling with Copeland. Procession comes in for help with Michaud. Can't get the puck to go anywhere. Still stuck along the boards as Copeland falls to the ice. Christopoulos gets the puck away and gives it Procession. Procession sends the puck up ice looking for a winger. Couldn't find anybody though. And then he goes off for a change. Here's Jacob LeBlanc. Skates around with the puck in his own zone. Getting it back up to Michaud. Michaud sends the puck down the ice, or gets it to Jacob LeBlanc, who gives it to Ride. And now through the neutral zone is Jacob LeBlanc. LeBlanc back to the point. There was nobody there, as he is usually the point guy. Ride with it. Gives it to Copeland. To Michaud. Michaud harassed by the Battalion coming into the Battalion zone. And he still somehow gets down there before being taken to the ice for Brskowski. No call coming. And now Copeland has to retreat out of the Battalion zone. through the neutral zone. Copeland tried to get it into the troop zone. Wakely gets a pass up ice to Tarasevic, and then is sent in. And now a chance out front for Van Steensel, tries to get the shot away, and Rosenzweig somehow kept that one out as the puck was bouncing everywhere. Rosenzweig tried to send the puck up the ice, hit a body, landed in front of him, tried to tip it off as Van Steensel was coming in really fast. And Van Steensel somehow got the puck, but Rosenzweig got over anyways.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Van Steensel. That puck was still kind of popping around, and it just didn't settle down enough for him to get a good stick. And Rosenzweig almost hurts himself there, but Battalion would love to get at least one more here early on.
Pass out front by Petrov. Tried to find McDonald, and he tipped it just wide. Zito back to the point for Kennedy to Hislop. Hislop in for Petrov, takes a sharp angle shot, looking for McDonald to tip it, and Rosenzweig turns that one aside. Hislop sending the puck back up ice for Zito, and now Cato had the puck and lost it. Now it's McDonald and Zito on a 2-on-1. McDonald takes the shot, he scores! Kyle McDonald squared his second goal this game and second since returning from injury. It's a 5-1 hockey game.
McDonald says, I don't need you, Zito. I can do this myself as he comes in. And what an absolute shot right to the glove side of Rosenzweig. And McDonald, we talk about how good his shot is. And man, just Zito just being there as a defenseman, you kind of have to cheat over and block that zone. And that just gives an open lane for McDonald. And how about that? Second game back. No goals, no points last game, and now comes back with 2 big goals. And you know that's got to be a big relief off his chest here.
And the man they call Big Mac, that's his 11th of the season. As the Battalion pick up the puck again in the Ice Dog zone with Jackson. So Jackson and McDonald each getting 2 each. Lucan getting the other goal. 4 out of the goals coming from likely sources. The other goal, not necessarily, and now is Nelson. Tried to get the puck to settle down. He would have been all alone. Leaves it for Ertl. Ertl tried to get the shot away, but a good stick there by the Ice Dogs negates that. O'Flaherty shovels the puck up the ice. Nelson's going to be the first one in on that one. Sends it back around behind the net. But now it's back to the point. That was Rebo who kept it in. LeBlanc of the Andrew variety gets across ice to Jesus. Jesus sends the puck in. It's behind the Battalion net. And Winslow picks it up, giving it up to Bloom. LeBlanc keeps the puck off his stick, though, and Jackson picks up the loose puck. Nelson up to Bloom. Bloom can't get a hold of it as Jesus tries to get out of the zone. Jackson would have had Ertl in alone if he was able to stop that clearing chance, but he couldn't. And now it's back into the Battalion zone with Jackson picking up the puck. Jackson to Lucan. Lucan with some speed dumps the puck down behind the Ice Dogs net. Terrian tried to get a handle on it, but he skated right over it. Christopoulos to Lucan in the Battalion zone. Lucan gets it to Petrov. Petrov tried to chip it out and give it to Procession, but now it's Christopoulos going the other way in for Procession. Procession with the shot. He drew a penalty.
Penalty shot. No way.
No.
Be nice, though.
The Battalion did have a penalty shot in Sudbury in which Tarasevic scored, but it'll be a power play here for the troops, as that's going to be Jacob LeBlanc going off for hooking.
I was hoping the referee would hear me because I just wanted to see a penalty shot. I knew that wasn't going to get called.
I'm going to have to talk to Henny after the game and say, hey, man.
Procession does a good job, though. Like, that's what happens when you have speed. You force these kind of hooks right in your body, and doesn't get a goal, but he draws a power penalty, and that's all you can really ask of your Houlihan, of your fourth centerman.
Rebo gets the puck back to the point. Petrov keeps it in, skates it in, takes the shot. McDonald takes a secondary whack at it. But Rosenzweig had it all along. And there's Petrov taking a shot.
Look, see, he knows how to shoot.
I'm not going to take credit for it, Ben.
Well, you should, because I took credit for the.
I know you did.
Him sitting at McDonald's. So
I think we're going to
broadcaster credits. If we're allowed to use them.
If Ryan Houlihan moves on and we need a new coach here in North Bay, we'll recommend you.
I don't think I'd get past the first screening.
They wouldn't even get in the door. Back to the point. Nelson tried to take a slap shot. His stick, or rather Petrov, and his stick explodes. As there's Petrov trying to take another shot.
Yeah.
And then the Battalion did get the puck in on Rosenzweig, and he turns that one aside.
His stick did not agree with that.
No, his stick.
His stick says no, usually pass.
Yeah, his stick said, what is going on here? And just absolutely, where the blade meets the bottom of the shaft, just crumpled, basically.
Yeah, and I love that Petrov's taking more shots. I think that's something like, if you can get Petrov and Zito shooting, that makes McDonald that doesn't mean that McDonald's the only one scoring, which makes it's easier to get him to the puck as well.
Nelson over to Petrov, takes the shot in, and then there's McDonald on the doorstep. Can't get by Rosenzweig, as Rosenzweig somehow made that save as he was down and out.
I think if I tried to do that, I'd probably be in bed for about a week.
Yeah, probably. Oh my God, yeah, you pull a groin or something. Leaves it for Petrov. Petrov sends it back down into the Ice Dog zone. It's kept in by Bloom. He gets it to the point for Nelson. Nelson goes cross ice for Petrov. Back to Nelson at the point. Looking for the shot. Couldn't get it to go. Takes another chance. And it's off a body and goes high and into the netting behind the net. A minute left in the penalty against LeBlanc.
And right now I feel like there's kind of this might not be happening, but it seems like Jackson and McDonald probably looking at each other saying who's going to get this hat trick first. It kind of feels like it. McDonald came so close, and Rosenzweig with getting a blocker on that one puck. And you can tell McDonald wants it. He wants to score goals, and he's very close to that hat trick.
Kyle McDonald was put on the face of the earth for one thing and one thing only, and that's scoring goals. That's all he's done since he's come to North Bay. He's been remarkable in his time here, just over a year now, as he was acquired at the trade deadline last year. Ertl into Wakely. 39 seconds left on the power play. Gets it back to Zito. Zito to Winslow at the point. Winslow in for Wakely. Wakely looking for the pass to Zito. It hits a stick out front and goes into the boards. Zito with possession of it still, though. Gets it back to Winslow, who sends it in for Tarasevic to Ertl. Ertl back to Zito in the slot. He looked for the shot, and it just fanned on that one. 15 seconds left over to Tarasevic. He fanned on that attempt too. And that's pretty much going to kill off what the remaining time as the Ice Dogs send it down to the Battalion zone with Podolou chasing after it with Winslow. Podolou ties up Winslow. Wakely comes away with it. And LeBlanc's back on the ice. Looking up for Ertl. Ertl would have had a nice stretch pass from Wakely. Gets it out front for Zito. Can't get it. And then Lucan, who thought of getting the rebound, had to go back quickly as he had Lavoie in behind him. Therrien sends a pass from the corner out front. Too close for DiVincentis' liking, and covers that one up.
That's the second time that Rosenzweig has made a play where he tries to play the puck in front of his net, and he almost gives it away. And he does it again, and an almost perfect opportunity for the Battalion again to take advantage of that. So got kind of lucky twice right now with trying to handle that puck instead of just maybe doing the smart thing and just covering it up.
Battalion with possession in their own zone. Get it up to Therrien. Therrien over to Van Steensel. Van Steensel with some speed. Takes a shot. It's blocked aside by Rosenzweig. And then out to the point for Christopoulos. Therrien now behind the net. Takes a run at his man. Knocking him into the boards. Procession. Back behind him to Therrien. Therrien. A cycle game now back to Van Steensel. Back to Procession. They're just staying in that far side corner, and they're content to do so. Van Steensel on the far side wall. Skates it in. No one's stopping him, but he couldn't get a shot away as Aaron's stick came around. And now Christopoulos has to rush over to the point and keep that one in. Christopoulos takes the shot, or rather was looking for a tip. Couldn't get it to go, though. And now Lucan kicks the puck behind the net. Lucan chasing after it. Lucan steals it. We're going to get a penalty here against the Battalion as Lucan was coming out front of the net. And that's 2 times now the Battalion looked to have a scoring chance, only to have a penalty called as Jacob Therrien's going to go to the box.
And it looks like it's going to be roughing. So where he kind of got his shot chance for something very similar from Van Steensel earlier in the game. It's been kind of an interesting play from the Battalion in the offensive zone. You might say, why are they not shooting it, whatever. They're at a point where right now they're just trying to kill off time. They have a 4-goal lead. So I'm okay with them kind of passing it up, trying to find some premium spots in the offensive zone. Because right now your big thing is, hey, let's just kill off some time. We got 11 minutes left in this hockey game. We're up 5-1. And they kind of have this one in hand unless the Ice Dogs can find some way of getting some huge momentum going.
Jesus at the point. Whole bunch of bouncing pucks. Now Bloom's going to come away with it. He's going to go down one-on-one with Jesus. Bloom tried to get it around, but a good stick by Jesus knocks the puck off his. And now Bruskowski in the neutral zone sends it back down the ice. 1:40 left on the penalty to Therien. And Jesus has the puck in his own zone. Jesus through the neutral zone. Stops up, look for Podolou behind him. That pass was out of his reach. And now Podolou has to regroup in the Battalion zone and leaves it for He. Niagara. Down to Copeland. Copeland tried to walk in front of DiVincentis. Comes out to Bloom, and Bloom's just going to send the puck down the length of the ice. Kill off some time as the Battalion penalty killers go for a change. 1:05 seconds left on the Therien penalty. Jesus in his own zone. Gives it back to Michaud. Michaud tried to get it in. He does, but he doesn't get possession of it as Zito piles the puck into the corner. Zito just keeping the puck, killing as much time as he can. 45 seconds left on the man advantage for the Ice Dogs. And Zito finally comes away with it. McDonald with the puck. He skates down the ice. Looking for that hat trick. Decides to go with the backhand shot. Couldn't get a good chance away though. And now it's back to Zito as the Battalion are just playing with possession in the Ice Dogs zone with 26 seconds left on the penalty to Therien. Looking out front for McDonald. That pass nearly got to him. Lugan takes a shot. And that one's off the end boards. And now McDonald has to get back quickly as the Ice Dogs had 3 going the other way. They lose it to Christopoulos though. Send it back the other way. 10 seconds left. The Battalion go for a quick change.
When you're able to hold possession that long in the offensive zone on a penalty kill, you know that there's not a very confident power play on the other side.
Michaud battling with Nelson on the far side corner, and now Therrien's back out on the ice, so we're back to 5-on-5. Now Jackson through the neutral zone, tried to find Procession. His pass was off the shin pad though, and it went into the corner. Jackson looks around back. Sends it in for Procession. Procession tried to get it, and he does have it, but he lost it to Jacob LeBlanc. Gets it up for Lavoie. Lavoie sends the puck back behind the Battalion net. 8.5 minutes left here in this third period. And Petrov just sends the puck down the ice, and it just gets into the Ice Dog zone for Ride to pick it up. He nearly lost it to Procession, and now LeBlanc's going the other way with it. Back up to Ride. To O'Flaherty. O'Flaherty sends the puck in deep. Hall is battling with Kennedy in the near side corner. Kennedy comes away with it. Slowing things down behind his net. It comes out to Nelson. Nelson gets it to Petrov, who quickly goes cross ice for Tarasevic. Tarasevic on the backhand dumps the puck in. And the Battalion go for a quick change. 7:40 left on the clock here now in the third period. Battalion lead 5-1. And the puck's shot in on DiVincentis. And DiVincentis gloves that one down. So we're back to our mid-period break. We'll hear from Derek on the other side of this.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Tonight's 3 Stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
All right, Derek, we got about 8 or 7 minutes left here in this third period or so. Battalion are up 5-1. How are we feeling between the benches?
North Bay's feeling great. Continuing the pressure on as McDonald got his second of the game with a nice little wrister off his front foot, hitting Rosenzweig to the far side. That perfect shot you want just above the pad and below the glove. He's really finding his stride here in his second game back from missing 18 games with injury. Battalion want to finish strong here. They're not going to be back in action until Thursday. So a good, strong 7.5 minutes. That's exactly what the coaching staff wants.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about Kyle McDonald, and you mentioned he's looking good down there, getting more back in stride. Ryan Houlihan said last game, a mid-season form, McDonald, scores 2 goals as Cato takes a quick shot. Scores 2 goals in that game, Derek. How's he looking down there at ice level?
He's looking right back. He's in mid-season form like he's back up on
stride. Scores! Dallin Wakely gives the Battalion the 6-1 lead here on the Frontline Game Day broadcast, and the Head makes another appearance here on the front line.
We got that thing out quickly.
Yeah, Ben's pretty efficient. Sorry not to cut you off, Derek, but we got the Wakely head going again.
You know what? What a shot by Dallin Wakely. That's 3 consecutive games now with goals. He picked that corner just like where Grandma keeps the peanut butter. Nothing there but that for Wakely as he's getting up here in January.
All right, thank you very much, Derek. We'll hear from you in the post-game show as, maybe we'll get a hold of you again before the end of the third period. Dallin Wakely with his 19th of the season, and he says where Grandma keeps the peanut butter. Well, let me tell you about the peanut butter balls that she makes because they're fantastic. It's actually his mother. I got a sampling of that there after the New Year's Eve game, so can't complain too much with that one. They didn't last too long, I'll tell you that much.
I know, I was there.
6-1 Battalion lead. Wakely with his 19th of the season. And the Battalion looking to pick up 2 points here against a Central Division foe in the Ice Dogs. Back out, Tarasevich looking for Wakely. He overskates it. They get it to Van Steensel, and he chips it down the ice. So no icing. Van Steensel tried to take a quick shot as Rosenzweig was out of his net trying to play the puck. Now Bruskowski. Wakely, again, had 20 goals last year. And now this year he's already at 19. If he does score his 20th, he will join Josh Bloom, and Kyle Jackson is the only other 20 goal scorers on this team right now. Last year they had 5 30-goal scorers. 5. Pretty remarkable. As the puck comes up and out and hits the... Well, we hit this with the Battalion penalty box with an errant puck before. Now we hit the Ice Dogs penalty box with an errant puck.
And it just shows how strong their depth is offensively when you talk about like how many 30-goal scorers they had and how many they're going to have this year. If you look at the Battalion, Derek talks about how they're going to be on a bit of a break, and that's true. Wednesday they're back in action in Sudbury, and they're going to do a back-to-back. They're going to be in Sudbury Wednesday and then coming back here to play the Sioux Greyhounds. So the next time we see them, it'll be interesting to see how sharp they are.
Might have to take another road trip to Sudbury to check that game out on Wednesday. That all depends on my car. Hey, if anyone wants to help me out with my car, go to Dave's Automotive for your 3 stars of service. As the puck is knocked down by Andrew LeBlanc or Jacob LeBlanc. And they get the puck down to the Battalion blue line. 5 minutes left here, or 5.5 minutes left here in the third period. Battalion leads 6-1. Shots on goal, 37-12.
This is the kind of game that the Battalion needed to have against a team like Niagara. They needed to dominate, and they have, both on the score sheet and on the intangibles on the ice.
Back to Bruskowski. Bruskowski sends the puck down to the Ice Dogs zone for Ertl to chase after. Rosenzweig plays it behind his net, and Bloom picks it up with the near side wall before fluttering it back in behind the net. Bloom chasing after it, can't get a hold of it. And now it's LeBlanc trying to get it to Lavoie. Quickly out front to Procession. Procession goes cross ice as Ertl's knocked down on the ice. He looks all kinds of hurt. And now Rosenzweig with another great save here for the Ice Dogs as Bloom was in alone with a great chance there.
Yeah, Procession makes 2 really good plays there as he sets up Earl and then he sets up the next scoring chance as well. And there's a lot of really the kid's special for sure. And that's just something that as he continues to take the face off here, you're going to want to keep watching his OHL career because he's going to have a fantastic one.
Well, one thing that's always been said, love or hate him or not agree with his opinions, one thing that always rang true as Nelson skates the puck in, and especially last year as we saw Van Steensel and Wakely really take off in the second half, is that former head coach Stan Butler always used to say there's no rookies after Christmas time, and Ethan Procession's not looking like a rookie out there anymore.
No, unfortunately, he can't really move up from that 4th line, but I think if there is an injury that lets him move up, I think he's going to be that first in that depth chart to be able to.
He's looked great for sure. He takes the shot from a sharp angle and he scores, somehow beating DiVincentis on a very sharp angle. And my goodness, it's now a 6-2 game.
And he's going back into his net and he's like, how did that get through? As there was like just a smidge of daylight, and you could tell that he thought he had perfect position there. And even when you have a little tiny bit of daylight, that's all you need. And that's kind of one of those funky ones, thankfully, in a game that's already kind of out of reach. But it's not going to help his goals against average.
No, it's not.
2 goals on 13 shots so far. But overall, he's been very good this game. But yeah, that one's just squeaking through.
That's He's 10th of the season. If you look down in the corner, general manager and Memorial Cup winning goaltender Adam Dennis is standing right there in the corner where the Battalion go off. He had a bird's eye view on that one, so I'm sure him and Divinchendis will have a chat about that after the game. But at the end of the day, Divinchendis hasn't been tested much, but he has looked good for the Battalion. Zito back to Petrov, takes the shot, and Rosenzweig just got a piece of that one and turns it aside. Andrew LeBlanc looking in for O'Flaherty. It's off his skate and sent into the corner. Now it's Petrov dumping the puck out, and that's going to be the Ice Dogs. Rebo, who just sends it back in. Divinchendis blocks that one with his glove, and play goes on. McDonald through the neutral zone. Looks out for Petrov. Petrov skates it in, looks in for another pass to Zito, as he had another good chance as Rosenzweig pushes Zito out of his crease.
Another instance where Petrov maybe wanted to take that shot there.
And now Zito in on a 3-on-1. Back to Bruskowski, over to Petrov, and he scores! Matvey Petrov takes a shot, and he gets a goal as Zito. And Cato kind of exchanged some words there.
What a pass from Bratowski. That was something that he could have shot there. We talked about how they make one too many passes, and that was an instance where he's able to make Rosenzweig stretch out, and it gives the entire top of the net there. And Petrov almost looked like it didn't go in, but it goes absolute top shelf. And not much more. It's just kind of like icing on the cake at this point, making this a 7-2 hockey game. But love seeing Petrov get back on that scoring sheet. And we see the passing, and that's when they're a good team, is when that passing is crisp, and that's a perfect example.
Matvey Petrov, 13th of the season. Be interesting to hear what Cato, the former captain for Pasquale Zito, had to say to him after that goal, as there were a little bit of wax going on between the two right after that goal. Battalion up 7-2. Ice Dogs send the puck back in. Bruskowski sends the puck back to the point. Michaud skates it in, looks for a chance in the slot, can't get anyone there. And now it's to Van Steensel, who looks up for Wakely. Wakely carries it into the Ice Dog zone, looks for Tarasevic. Wakely picks it back up, looks to find Van Steensel out front, as now the puck is just bouncing all around, and we're going to get a hand pass here against the Battalion. Battalion up to 41 shots, Ice Dogs at 13.
Wakely kind of got a little bit lucky. He thought he actually got a penalty back in the offensive zone, as he kind of did a bit of a check from behind that almost pushed the Niagara player into the boards. And he kind of looked up like, oh, I can't believe I did that. But fortunately for him, no call, and that gives another great scoring chance for the Battalion, who, at this point, if you're Niagara, you're just trying to say, hey, can we get past the next 2 minutes and 34 seconds? And I love the fact the Battalion aren't letting up. They're still going after it and trying to get some points on the score sheet.
Well, this is a rivalry game against your Central Division foe. Nothing like demoralizing them, right? So the Battalion and Ice Dogs will do this dance a few more times this season. And it's another rivalry game, as the Battalion will look for some revenge on Wednesday as they travel to the Nickel City, falling to the Wolves last time that they were there, 3-2, hoping for better results this time around as they'll come in on a couple of days of rest.
And you know, after thrumming them 7-3 at home, that they're looking to get something back.
Behind the net, the Ice Dogs have it. That's Hall. Hall takes a shot. It's off a body and goes wide. Jacob LeBlanc with it now. Goes to go cross ice for his defense partner, Ride. Ride sends it back in behind the net. And now Jacob LeBlanc on the far side corner with it. Sent behind the net by Lucan for Kennedy. Kennedy chips it up for Van Steensel. And Van Steensel sends it down the length of the ice. With a minute and a half left, we'll get a nicing call here against the Troops. And a face-off opportunity in the offensive zone for Niagara.
Well, if you're Ryan Newland, you got to be very happy with the game that your team has played. They've come out. They haven't looked rusty at all. They've looked good going into that Wednesday game against Sudbury, and I think you just got to be happy all the way. It's been a great, from the defense to the goaltending to the offense, everything's been kind of clicking for you. And when you go into this game, this 7-2 game, this is what you need to do when you look at the domination that North Bay's put on a team that's at the bottom of the standings, and 41-13 are the shots. It's pretty much all you really need to know about this game.
Puck sent cross ice as Terrian sits his man down. That was Rebo, much to the delight of the Battalion bench. Minute 20 left here on the clock. Shot comes in. Divinchendis gloves that one down. And Terrian, well, we've talked about his size before. He's not the tallest or the biggest.
He had a lot.
But he hits like a truck.
He had a lot of, like, if you actually looked at that, you would not believe it. Like, you would not believe that he'd be able to almost pancake Rebo into the ground.
Yeah.
And he's a lot of strength. It reminds me of Arnsby a bit, with just like that short stature, but man, is he strong.
He really is.
Almost got a breakaway from it, too.
Would have been nice to see him get a goal too. Jackson out there looking for that hat-trick goal once again. Just over a minute left here in this third period. Bloom with the puck. Goes down the ice. Leaves it for Jackson. Jackson sends the puck in cross ice. Nelson picks it up. And they send the puck back behind the net for rebound. Final minute now. Jackson out front to Blue or Ertl. And Ertl stopped by Rosenzweig. And we'll get another stoppage here with 55.8 seconds left on the clock.
Now, Rosenzweig's had a pretty decent game. I mean, he's faced 42 shots, and you look at the 7 goals, and you kind of see he comes into this game with a 5.03 goals against average. And it's just tough when you have a team that doesn't have the greatest defensive structure behind you, and you face 42 shots a night. Even against Barrie, like again, he's coming in a back-to-back. He started last game as well, and he only gave up 4 goals on almost 40 shots again.
Hislop goes cross ice on a shot. Terrian tries to get it. And now it's Procession on the near side half wall. Knocks his man down. And the Ice Dogs get possession of it with Jacob LeBlanc trying to get the puck out of the zone. He can as Van Stiesel now out to Procession. Procession takes the shot. And Rosenzweig just got a piece of that one as it was knocked aside from the net. Procession on the far side wall. 26 seconds now remain in this game. Battalion leads 7-2. Terrian taking a run from Jacob LeBlanc. I can't say his name now all of a sudden.
And there's some extra pushing,
yeah,
it looks
we're gonna. Well, you know, when he hit Terrian took exception to that one for sure.
Yeah.
And
with 19 seconds left, I think they just might throw them in the box, or I don't know if they're going to keep this game going.
Tell them to get the showers warm.
Yeah, this might be one of those things where it's just you don't need to. It looks like they are going to send at least Terrian to the box, and yeah, they're just going to send him to the locker room on the Niagara side. Potentially?
Well, LeBlanc's just going back to the bench, it looks like. And same with Terrian. 19.1 seconds.
Well, they had the penalty box door open on the Battalion side. And now it looks like Terrian coming back out. Still jawing with the official. They're not too sure what he was saying.
Yeah, Terrian and LeBlanc now are out here.
And now they're still jawing to themselves. So we might see something that's going to be interesting with 20 seconds left. It looks like there's just going to be 4-on-4 hockey potentially here.
Yeah, so Terrian's in the box for 2 minutes. LeBlanc's in the box for 2 minutes. Really will be 19.1 seconds.
What's going to happen, though, once these guys get out of the box? Maybe the referees are going to have to keep an eye on that, though, and make sure that there's no extracurricular after the final buzzer.
It's not like a full 2 minutes where you have to wait and then you come back out.
Yeah, you're already still heated from what you had, and they were jawing when they first got into the box as well.
8 seconds remaining. Ice Dogs send that puck in. DiVincentis plays it, and it goes down the length of the ice, and that'll do it here. The Battalion skate to a 7-2 victory. And now we'll have to keep an eye on LeBlanc and Terrian. Nothing is being said. So
You're just smart. You don't want to get suspended or something like that.
No. So the Battalion picking up another 2 points here against their rival Niagara Ice Dogs. The trade deadline does come on Tuesday, so we'll have to keep an eye on if this is the same looking Battalion team as we see them on Thursday here at home. That will also be the next Frontline Game Day broadcast. Will be Thursday as the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds come to town to take on the Battalion. The Battalion riding high off this one. We'll have to see if they're riding high off a good game against the Wolves on Wednesday. And, of course, we'll have a new podcast out for you this week. Justin Ertl will be our guest as well. I'm Courtney Kenny. He's Ben Sargent. He'll be joined by Derek Lindemann here on the other side of this. Battalion 7, Ice Dogs 2. You'll love to see it. As always, keep your eye on the front line.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canador's alumni office. Visit canadorcollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
And welcome back inside Memorial Gardens, where the North Bay Battalion have defeated the Niagara Ice Dogs by a score of 7-2. North Bay outscored the Ice Dogs 3-1 in the third period. So let's take a look at the third period summary as Kyle McDonald got his second of the night at 4:02. Hislop with the lone assist on McDonald's goal, and then Wakely with his third in as many games at 12:37, his 19th of the season from Tarasevic. And then the Ice Dogs got their second of the game at 15:39. He is 10th of the season from Jesus and Dan. And then the last goal was Matvei Petrov, his 13th of the season from Bruskowski and Zito at 16:46. Shots in the game, 3 in the third period for the Ice Dogs for a total of 14. 15 for the Battalion as they've increased every period by 1 for a total of 42. Neither team was able to score with the man advantage as the Ice Dogs were 0 for 5 and the Battalion 0 for 4 in that category. And that concludes the festivities here from Memorial Gardens. Let's take a look at the Dave's Automotive 3 stars of service.
Tonight's 3 stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
Battalion dominating the 3 stars again as they picked up all 3. Third star, Kyle Jackson with a pair of goals in tonight's game. Second star was also with a pair of goals, Kyle McDonald. First star with a 3-point night, Matvei Petrov, a goal and 2 assists. Well, Ben, quite what we were expecting here as the Ice Dogs were coming in, the 20th ranked team in the OHL, as the Battalion come away with a 7-2 victory.
Yeah, and they're coming off a game against Oshawa where they really didn't play their best game. It was a 3-2. They did win 3-2, but they didn't look that sharp. And then they come in here and they play the exact way that you expect a team like the Battalion to play against a team like the Ice Dogs. We talked about how in January, including that game against Oshawa, they're playing 8 games against teams that are kind of in the weaker part of their schedule. 6 of those 8 at home, and so far they're 2-0. And you got to like it with the start. If you're Ryan Ulan, you got to like the start that they have on this kind of mini stretch of games where you want to go 8-0, 7-1. But you do have a stretch of back-to-back games coming up, and I think this is a really good start for the Battalion. Everybody looked sharp, whether it was goaltending, defense, and offense, and it was just a perfect all-around game for the Battalion.
I kind of think Dom DiVincentis wants that second goal back, because I was scored almost from the goal line, a little bit of a weird angle. I want him a little bit more parallel with the goal line and not so much on an angle, as I caught the outside pad and somehow snuck through the legs. But DiVincentis did have not the hardest of nights, as he made 12 saves on 14 shots.
Yeah, it won't help his save percentage at all. But I will say this, last 4 goals that he's given up have been kind of not necessarily his fault, right? Like, yes, that last goal was his fault for not being too close, but if you look at the other goals that he's given up, he's been very solid, and he's been making the saves he wants to out, and he's had some bad luck for the most part. So DiVincentis is looking really, really good, despite the fact that you could say, hey, he's given up 4 goals in 2 games. But at the same time, he's looked very strong for the Battalion in those 2 games.
Well, the Battalion do have 3 games on schedule for the week ahead. Let's take a look at them, as they will kick off the week on Wednesday the 11th. They'll be in Sudbury to take on the Wolves, and then they'll return home to play the Sioux Greyhounds on the 12th. That will be right here on the Frontline broadcast. And then they'll conclude the week on Sunday, a 2 o'clock start, as the Flint Firebirds are in town to take on the North Bay Battalion. And again, it's not really a hard week for the North Bay Battalion when you look at Sudbury at the bottom of sitting really second or fourth out of 5 teams in the Central Division, and then the Sioux Greyhounds and the Flint Firebirds.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be one of those things where the only thing that's going to give them trouble maybe is the fact that they're playing back-to-back, and thankfully they're playing 2 of those 3 games at home. So that's going to be a huge thing. They play very well inside this building. I think they play a little bit better inside this building than they do on the road because you are more well-rested. There's a lot of intangibles that come to playing at home versus on the road, and a lot of that has to do with travel. It's not the most glamorous thing at this level. You're not in private jets flying to wherever. You're on a bus, and you're flying. Now, obviously, Sudbury's not too bad. It's an hour and a half. Depends on how fast you drive. Sometimes it can be an hour, depending. But for the most part, it's a pretty easy travel day to get there. It's not like you're going down to like the Sioux or you're going down to Niagara. It's only an hour and a half away. So realistically speaking, I don't expect them to be too bad going into that game against the Sioux Greyhounds, but I think it's going to be very important for them to pick up at least 2 out of those 3 games, if not get 3 straight victories next week.
I'm sure we'll see Charlie Robertson getting the start of one of those 2 back-to-back games, whether it be in Sudbury or right here against the Sioux Greyhounds. The Niagara Ice Dogs will host the Battalion at the end of the month, as the Battalion are there on the 28th, and they'll look to get some revenge as they're not really happy with the way this game ended. Emotions got a little bit wound up at the end of the game, but nothing came out of it. We'll have to wait and see what that penalty at the end of the second holds for the Niagara Ice Dogs player. Regret his name at the moment. Oh, Keenan. Yep. As he picked up that abusive official call, so we'll have to see if there's any fallout from that. But other than that, it's a pretty easy game for the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, and you look at if you look at these guys play each other, this is the 3rd game, and the Battalion 9-4 the last time they saw them at home. So they've dominated at home. They lost when they were on the road. So I think that road game is going to be very important for them to come out to a good start and play the way that they played today on that road start, which is going to be very big. I think it's the 29th of January they play them. So it's going to be a big thing. Niagara's a team where you need to win basically every game against them because those points are going to matter in the standings.
Exactly. You got to win those games when you're up against the lower base teams, and especially Niagara when you're sitting at the bottom of the OHL. Well, it's been an exciting Sunday afternoon here at Memorial Gardens. For one last time, make the final here. The North Bay Battalion 7, the Niagara Ice Dogs 2. For our producer, Ben Long, Courtney Kenny, who's down catching up with the head coach, Ben Sargent. I'm Derek Lindeman. May you guys have a safe and happy rest of Sunday evening.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Financial advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.